should know. I have never really liked you at all. I cannot hide it anymore. I've been thinking about the future, trying to forget about the past. So many ways that I could change for the better.
This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free.
Hey, y'all. Happy Thursday. I'm so glad y'all are here today. We got a lot to talk about. When I started the stream like 5 minutes ago, I wasn't aware there was as much to talk about as there actually is. So this should be pretty interesting. Cindy from sunny South Florida already came through, gifting 5 memberships. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. Thank you so much. Those went to Lisa S., Cindy M., Joseph Martinez, Michelle Dendardo, and Reaction Buffet. If you were gifted from Cindy and you are aware you were gifted, please tell Miss Cindy thank you. Thank you so much, Miss Cindy. I'm going to grab the crazy train and pick y'all up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. Thank you so much, Miss Cindy. I see that Southern Cats and Teresa Clay, Snarky Pants, Hannah, Crystal, Kimmy is here. Thank y'all for being here. Donna, thank you for being here. Yes, please remember all opinions are welcome, but be respectful when expressing them. No need to call names or be combative. Thank you for that. Dainty Dane, thank you for the information. Good to see you. Dandy Lioness, good to see you. Cindy from sunny South Florida, good to see you. Jay the Italian Cookie, good to see you. I made some pickled eggplant. That's actually an Italian dish that we had never had before, and I made it, and it was so good. Did I spell it wrong? I mean, my bad. You know, Allie, Alaska, I've seen you here before. And like you could have, been a little bit nicer about it, but okay, I changed it. I hope that you can now breathe because it's evident that you are having a whole cosmic motherfucking meltdown over one letter being wrong in that name. I apologize sincerely. Hopefully you can breathe now. Stephanie, thank you for being here. Soups, thank you for being here. Cara, thank you for being here. Oh, well, I've never been more happy about somebody unsubscribing. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Lord have mercy. Oh, okay. I'm having fun actually right now. So, okay, so it says, how stupid can you be? Yeah, Bryan slaughtered 4 people by himself, dumb as rocks. Bryan called mommy dearest after homicide, and then is on the thumbnail. Let's click on the live. Hold on just a minute. Not that live, this live. Bryan called mommy poo after committing 4 homicides. I mean, you can call me stupid, but according to the court of law, Bryan slaughtered 4 people by himself. And I don't think that I said Bryan called mommy poo after committing 4 homicides. That doesn't necessarily mean that he committed them by himself. I just said that he called his mom after committing 4 homicides. There could have been other people there. There could have not been other people there helping him. I didn't expand on that particular situation. But to be fair, a court of law said that he did do it by himself. But you enjoy your life and hopefully you can breathe now. I honestly, with every fiber of my being, wish you the best in every aspect of your future here on YouTube. One sunny day, good to see you. And here, Sandra, good to see you. Alrighty. So, Monica, good to see you. Yeah, apparently if you mention his mother while he's in prison, he'll go ballistic. He has a mommy thing. I've heard. Hey, Julie and Donna, good to see you. All right, so I was going to show y'all something. Well, since I spoke about it now, y'all, I found this weird stuff on YouTube before we get started, okay? And I've seen like 4 of these videos, okay? And it's just I've been mesmerized every time I've seen it, okay? And I'm going to show y'all to it. I'm going to show it to you, and it's really weird. And like, I don't know what to make of it. It's kind of frightening. So I'm gonna give you a warning. It's like death metal, okay? It's just instrumental death metal music, right? Like, it's freaking weird. I'll probably have to cut it out. Like, hold on. It gets weird. Like, what is this? Can somebody explain to me what this is? What are we doing here? What is going on? What is this? Okay, that's about enough of that. I don't know. I'm like, this is weird. Anyways, it's called Doopy-Doo? Doopy-Doo? I don't know. They've got 57,800 subscribers and they've got several videos. They seem to put one out like every 4 weeks. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Yeah, artistic expression, I guess. That would be Bryan Kohburger having a party by himself. Lord have mercy. Hey, Jerry. Marilyn, even Marilyn Manson wasn't quite that bad. I don't know. Yeah, no doubt, Cara. Hey, Tom. Good to see you. Yeah, it's kind of freaky. I don't know, man. Trash bag trauma. Good to see you, little bit of Lisa. I got nothing, said Kimmy. Yeah, AI. It's definitely AI. Hey, Edith. Good to see you. All right, so let me write my timestamp down for when we're actually getting started. I feel like this mic is too close to my mouth. About to eat it. Okay, we'll do 1401. All right, so Austin Drummond had court today, so we can go into that. I did just find this right before I came live, and evidently, Devil's Den suspect has pled not guilty. That's a bad acid trip, a real bad one. I mean, I could have said BK. Stuff nightmares are made of. I agree, Jerry. All right, so yeah, I think it's over here. Where did I put it? There it is. Okay, so this is Austin Drummond's court appearance from about 3 hours ago. I'm going to skip it ahead because it's a minute before they get there.
When you hear your name called, if you would please come to the podium here and take up my case. Go on with everybody their rights first, and then I'll get to Mr. Drummond. If you're here today and you've been cited into court or arrested for any charge whatsoever, you have a right to plead not guilty throughout your entire cause of action. You are presumed not guilty unless you are found guilty at trial. If you are found guilty, you have the right to appeal that case within 10 days to the circuit court.
Okay, if they weren't told by Bryan, I'll go ahead and tell them that I think they have wonderful birthing hips. I think so. I like that.
You also have a right to have an attorney be appointed to represent you and also retain counsel to represent you if you qualify. If you wish to have counsel appointed to represent you, the court is happy to ask you questions about your finances to determine whether or not you qualify. Most importantly, it applies to everybody. You are protected by the Fifth Amendment from having to speak or testify about your case, so please don't tell me anything about the facts of your case, and whatever you say will be used against you by the district attorney's office at a later date. With that being said, those are your rights. General, are we ready on Mr. Drummond? Yes. Mr. Huffman, good morning, sir. Good morning. I want to express my appreciation again to you for taking this case. So yes. I do appreciate that very much. Have you had a chance to speak to Mr. Drummond? I have.
So, we talked about it before. I do think it's weird that the judge appointed this this lawyer specifically for Austin Drummond, and you guys explained it to me that you have to find somebody that can do a death penalty case, which makes sense to me. But like, I don't know. I still find it kind of off-putting that the judge is like, I'm just so grateful you took this case. I'm so glad. Like, and it's a public defender. I always feel like, not necessarily that they're not going to do the best job, but I feel like they're kind of maybe working for the state somewhat, or would work a little bit more with the state because they're public defenders and you didn't hire your own attorney. And then you got the judge being like, oh, I'm going to give you this special attorney. And then the judge is glad the attorney took the case. I don't know. It's just a little off-putting. In ancient Greece, it means no one will ever want to touch you. Oh my goodness. That's funny. Or, Lord have mercy, Cara. You're on one today, girl.
We would like to wait 14 days before our meeting set this for the
I'm muted. I think so. And I'm wondering if it's just for show. Like, does he just want it to appear he's going to get a free trial? I mean, a fair trial.
Roughly what I want to do.
This is his attorney from the back, by the way.
If you would do this and just put as attorney on this form, just to show that it's waiving.
Possibly.
14-day rule for our records. And I just believe I heard you say you requested a preliminary hearing. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so they waived the 14-day rule and they're requesting a preliminary hearing. A little bit of Lisa said, I didn't hear that, but is the judge possibly just expressing appreciation for public service? That's possible. And Cindy also said, I took that as if the judge knows no attorney wants this case. All of those things could be possible. Sandra, good to see you. The state usually don't employ death penalty certified attorneys, and the state will still pay for a private attorney for him that is death penalty certified. Okay, thank you. Y'all might have told me that before too, but that makes a little bit more sense. I appreciate that. Kimmy C123, thank you for gifting a membership. I really appreciate that. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. And that went to Thea and Roman. I'm so glad that Thea and Roman were gifted a membership because they participate in chat. Thea and Roman, if you're here today, please tell Kimmy C123 thank you. Thank you so much, Kimmy C. And I'll grab the crazy train to pick y'all up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much. Yeah. Little bit of Lisa, I believe it, from Arkansas. It does. It makes more sense like that, Sandra. Like Dandy said, yes, Sandra, you hit that nail right on the head. Because so if it's a private attorney that the state is going to pay for him because that attorney does death penalty cases and the state usually doesn't employ death penalty certified attorneys, then it would make more sense that he's like, I really appreciate you taking this case. I'm going to get somebody that I know might help. And this specific attorney, like, it makes more sense that way. So I really appreciate that. Yay. Tom said, surprise mommy and daddy aren't buying him a high dollar legal team. Me too, considering that they bonded him out on, what was it, a $75,000 bond and then a $30,000 bond. Like, whew.
If the parties come up with a date.
We were looking at that earlier.
Oh, there you are.
General Goodman.
Set a date.
Well, being that this is a very unique case, I think that this may require a special setting, which goes, on a day that's not Monday or Thursday when I usually have my dockets. I guess my question is how much time are you going to need? How much time are you going to need, General, before we?
So I think they're probably going to change it to another county already because he's saying that it's going to require a special setting. I mean, and I agree because the Lake County Department of Corrections was kind of involved with this. Thea, thank you so much for saying that. And I'm sorry if I slaughtered your name. Tony, good to see you. You take a life and his parents tell him we love you, but you made your choices. So the bus stops here. Yep. I think reading that letter, they seem kind of upset. So I think they're going to change venues, and he might be about to change judges because they're going to take it to trial. But I know Austin was asking for a speedy trial, so I'm wondering how far out they're going to set it.
He understands he has,
It's really hard to hear, and I can't turn closed captions on, so I apologize about that. Yeah, this is Lake County, Tennessee. They're going to put it in a different county.
He's going to be back home. But
That's going to be a certain court date on the 25th.
Hey, AM.
I've got a juvenile docket that day, I'm sorry. '28th is also standard day for a docket. And then I know on Friday of that week, I don't have anything on Friday the 29th.
Hold on.
Well,
Okay, so Friday the 20, this month in 2 weeks, as a matter of fact, is the 28th on a Thursday. And then Friday the 29th is also this month. So I'm wondering if they're trying to go to trial in 2 weeks. That's really quick for a quadruple homicide.
what about?
Hey, Lois, Mom. Good to see you.
That's one of my usual days. I have the general sessions docket. If everybody's okay, I can set it that afternoon.
Well, that's what I was going to do.
Yes, sir.
Then after lunch.
Is everybody okay with that?
Oh, it's a preliminary hearing. I don't know what I'm thinking. All right, so they're going to have a preliminary hearing, I think, the 29th.
Okay. Let's do that then. Mr. Drummond, good morning. I am going to continue your case to September the 4th.
Oh, September 4th.
At 9 o'clock, sir.
Question. I was under the impression that it was 14 days for preliminary hearing.
Well,
So he waived his 14-day right, and he's wanting it to be a preliminary hearing before 14 days. Yeah, it's quick, but why is he wanting to get out of there so fast? He was asking about a speedy trial at the last hearing. Like, is he wanting to go to trial in 14 days? Well, preliminary hearing he's asking for, and technically in 14 days would be the 28th of August, but there's scheduling issues, so they made it for the 4th, which is 3 weeks out from today.
I had discussed that with him, and I told him that we would wait for the 15-day rule, but not the 30-day rule.
Mr. Huffman indicates he spoke with you, sir, about the 14-day rule being waived, but not the 30-day rule. So you are entitled to have a preliminary hearing now within 30 days. Your attorney is
Hey,
waiving
Speedle.
14-day waiver. So we're going to have a preliminary hearing to give him time to prepare to represent you in that case. So your case is going to be continued to the 4th of September, and we're going to set that. How about at 1 o'clock that day, guys? Is everybody good with that time? Okay. General, is the state comfortable with that time? Is the state agreeable to setting
Yes,
all
sir,
these?
that's fine. What is the next order? I can't do it. Well, we can do separate hearings. They have to be.
I'm fine to do that, seeing that they're charging accessory after the fact. I don't mind to do that. The court will continue the matter in Mr. Drummond's cases to Thursday, September 4th at
So they changed it from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Jay, I know that allegedly Westland is with Matthew's, the paternal grandparents, Matthew's parents, and they were very distraught about everything and seemed very well put together. Now, of course, I don't know their criminal history and I'm not going to look into it, but I don't think we have a situation here like with Taylor Shabusiness where her father was like a member of the whatever the crap it was. I mean, I'm gonna assume that they, you know, don't condone that lifestyle. Taking myself as an example, my parents did in no way, shape, or form condone a lifestyle that I once lived. So I think that she's gonna be okay. And considering the impact that this case has had on the community, I think that child will be well looked after, not only by his parents that have custody of her, but by the community as a whole. Hey, Rubber, thank you for hitting the thumbs up. And Spidey Loose, good to see you. Speedle Loose, good to see you. Cuban Dolly, good to see you. Yeah, he definitely wants to go back to prison, I think. I bet he thinks the quicker this goes to trial, less time for state to build the case. That's a good thought. I wonder.
Court will remind Mr. Drummond to keep in contact with his attorney, as well as the previous conditions that the court had entered regarding this matter.
I do have one question on that. The restraining order states in the family members of the victims, his girlfriend is one of the family members. And families indicated that Mr. Drummond's family indicated that he'd like to have some contact with his telephone contact. I don't know how the court did it.
Your Honor, we're asking for a restraining order that includes her as well.
And she's already included in the
Right, and we're asking with that to keep.
Well, without having heard any testimony or any proof or having heard from that family member himself, I don't feel comfortable amending any restraining order without there being some type of proof or some type of testimony to show that I should do that. So I'm going to continue to have the restraining order remain in place, and that will include all family members until further hearings at that time.
Yeah.
So we'll continue for that purpose.
Who are they trying to get the restraining order removed on? I'm wondering. Or I mean, because I thought they were saying including another family member, and he said until I hear about it specifically, I'm going to keep the restraining order in place on the whole entire family. So I'm wondering if Caitlin's trying to be able to talk to him or what's going on. It might be in an article because I did pull an article on this, so maybe we'll look at that next.
Okay. All right, Mr. Drummond, your case is continued to September 4th, 1 o'clock this afternoon. Keep in contact with your attorney, sir.
Thank you. That's all I have for the court.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Are you comfortable to go ahead and take a good note? I wanted to do that since they.
Okay. Now we got Brandon. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on just a minute. We need something from today. Okay, yeah, here we go. There it is. Quadruple homicide suspect Austin Drummond appears in court and asked to speak to his girlfriend. That's what I thought. So it says Memphis, Tennessee, Austin Drummond, the accused homicider of 4 family members in Lake County, appeared in court on August 14th. During the court appearance, the judge denied a request from Drummond to revoke a protection order so he could speak with his girlfriend, a relative of the family members that he committed the homicide of. So he's wanting to talk to, what is Caitlin Speed. And he's calling her his girlfriend. Y'all, I really do think that she's with child 4 months pregnant with his son. Says the judge also set a date for Drummond's next court appearance, which will be September 4th. Drummond is facing 4 counts of first-degree homicide, 1 count of aggravated kidnapping, 4 counts of possessing a firearm as a felon, and 1 count of possessing a firearm during a dangerous felony in connection to the homicides. This is his second court appearance since his arrest. During his first appearance, the state announced that it would be seeking the death penalty in Drummond's case. Why does he want to talk to Caitlin? I think she's involved somehow too. Why do you want to talk to Caitlin, Austin? Oh, I did have one more thing real quick about him before we go on to Brandon. This says district attorney releases statement on Austin Drummond case. This was from yesterday. And he said, quote, "My office will seek justice with the death penalty in the case against Austin Drummond for the homicides of James Matthew Wilson, 21 years old, Adriana Williams, 20, Braden Williams, 15, and Courtney Rose, 38. This heinous crime in Tiptonville has left a 7-month-old infant girl, Westlyn, without her parents, her uncle, and a grandmother. Drummond has also served prison time for robbery. Drummond has already served prison time for robbery and has been charged with attempted homicide while behind bars, but was out on bond at the time of the homicides. He is now charged with 4 counts of first-degree homicide, 1 count of aggravated kidnapping, 4 counts of being a felon in possession of a firearm, 1 count of possession of a firearm during the commission of a dangerous felony. And there is the actual, statement that we just read. All right. Now let's go back over to this live stream and see what they say to Brandon. I want to know if he's directly involved. Now, remember, Brandon Powell, who I do believe is the next person that's about to come up here, they pulled him over. He got charged with the pound of weed, the drones that had the electrical tape over the lights, the dirty 30s, which are fentanyl pills that are disguised to look like oxycodone 30 milligrams. And he was basically flying the drones over the prison yard to drop things to the inmates. He had a bunch of cell phones, a PS4 handheld game system, and where the bodies were found was at the same location that they would allegedly be going to do these drops into the prison yard. I mean, how many cases have there been where the woman has her lover commit unspeakable acts against their family? Very, very good point, Cara. She was fired and she knows exactly what happened and she should be charged, in my opinion. I like our mods here, but we have to remember to be kind to everyone and not snark on other mods. I agree. 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. Hey, Sky Maiden. In my opinion, I believe he wants a speedy trial to get back into prison because that's the only life he's ever really known and he couldn't function on the outside. I agree, but if he gets hit with the death penalty, that's going to be a very different lifestyle than even what he's used to living in prison. They're talking about a Dr. Seuss book. I was trying to figure it out myself, Dainty Dane. Abella's needing a channel and reading random things to us. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Okay. Yeah, I know it's kind of odd. I was like, 1 fish, 2 fish. All right, Brandon Powell.
Morning. Fine with that. Let's do the morning. You go at 10 o'clock on the.
That's Brandon.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Then we'll bring them over and I'll make them aware of that, but we'll tentatively schedule the 12th at 10 o'clock for Mrs. Sanders and Mr. Brown. Mr. Tracy, do you have a date?
So the dates that I have.
Hold on, I'm going to back it up a little bit because they were just talking about Brown and Sanders. So that's going to be Dara Sanders, the female, and Tanaka Brown. We'll back it up a little bit so we can hear what exactly they're saying about his cohorts.
Well, I know that Mr. Drummond's is probably going to take a little longer, and I don't know if these are going to be sort of similar or if it's better for us to consider a special setting. I'm fine with it.
We're going to do them all on the same day.
Let's do that then. Let's do a special setting. And I don't mind an afternoon docket for that day as well, if the attorneys can find a time that works.
Your Honor, I think that my matter, so co-defendant with my client, Mr. Drummond, and the criminal conspiracy case, separate apart from the facts of their case.
Okay, so it's a criminal conspiracy case, so that makes me think they're going to be charged with conspiracy to commit the quadruple homicide for attempting to help Austin Drummond. And they're trying to find the date to do the conspiracy cases. So they're going to be charged with conspiracy. Hey, Lily Gal. My eyes are playing funky monkey for the last 2 weeks. I miss y'all, but I'm always listening and hitting that like button. Well, thank you for that, Lily Gal. It's good to see you. I hope you are too, Crystal. I'm glad you're here. Sky Maiden said on the inside he was told what to do, when to do it, and on the outside he couldn't make his own decisions, which he couldn't do. Or he could make his own decisions, which he couldn't do. Oh, you're good. Okay. I get derailed. I have a monkey brain.
I really don't need you to say anything.
As in, I'm all over the place.
I agree with that. That's true. I agree with that. Mr. Creasy, do you have a date in mind? Is that a Friday? Okay.
All right, they're just setting up a date. I'm going to go to where we get Brandon on the TV.
Morning, you go at 10 o'clock on the 12th? No, that's right. That's fine. Okay. Then we'll bring them over and I'll make them aware of that, but then we'll tentatively schedule the 12th at 10 o'clock for Mrs. Sanders and Mr. Brown. Mr. Creasy, do you have a date?
So the dates that I have clear, I could do afternoon of September 2nd. I know that's a regular circuit date in that county. I could do
I think Tanaka Brown and Dara Sanders are going to be on September 12th or 16th. I couldn't quite catch the date.
after September. That's a Friday afternoon.
We are eliminating the notion of lawyers not working on Friday, it sounds like, so that's a good.
Well, my schedule's a little busy, but,
I'd be fine with the second and after.
That's a Tuesday afternoon, is that right, guys?
yes,
Mr. Creasy, how about 1 o'clock on September the 2nd?
that'll be fine.
Okay. Who's September 2nd? Hey, Jenny.
The camera is not on at the jail.
It's on this.
Okay, never mind. He's just not on mine, that's okay. He can see me though on the other. Mr. Powell, good morning, sir. Okay. Mr. Creasy, we have discussed the date for September the 2nd at 1 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon. Is that correct?
Powell, they're going to set your preliminary hearing the afternoon of September the 2nd. I'll come down and see you.
Mr. Powell, what I'm going to do is today we're setting your cases for preliminary hearing. Mr. Creasy, in regards to any time limits, how does your,
So it's going to be a preliminary hearing on September 2nd. Bye, Spotty Loose. I mean, Speedle Loose. I don't know why I keep wanting to call you Spidey Loose. Speedle Loose.
I think the time limits applies currently incarcerated out of Rockland County. He does have a bond there, so this is not the case.
okay. I just wanted to make sure of that before we set him out. Mr. Powell, I'm going to continue your cases to September the 2nd at 1 o'clock p.m. It'll be here in this courtroom. You'll be brought over for that, sir. We will be taking you up that day and time, okay? While you are incarcerated, though, if you were to make your bond conditions will remain the same. You must keep in contact with your attorney. Mr. Creasy, you can have no contact with Austin Drummond's. You cannot return to Northwest Correctional Facility in Tippensville, Tennessee, okay?
No, man, there's no way.
Yes, sir.
Has my bond been loaded?
I'm sorry?
Has my bond been lowered?
No?
We'll take up that issue on September the 2nd, Mr. Powell. I'll follow a motion. The other issues, there was a restraining order on Mr. Powell that restrained him from being around certain people that he's not even accused of.
I think that was entered in order, that was entered in error by the court, I think that.
Yes, sir, it was, we did not ask for it.
Yeah. So if there is any order that's down, I'm gonna rescind that because it does not apply to cases involving alleged victims in the Drummond matter.
But I mean, I would make it to where Brandon Powell couldn't talk to any of the victims either. Because look, Judge, let me be the first to tell you that if Austin Drummond does somehow get contact or a message to Brandon Powell, which considering they're using freaking drones to fly over and drop stuff in the prison yard, at this point, it wouldn't surprise me if Austin Drummond used a damn flyer pigeon to get a message to Brandon Powell. And if he's legally allowed to talk to Caitlin, then that's how you're going to get messages to Caitlin. Because even though those two are not supposed to talk to each other, poor court, because they have a case and they're co-defendants are going to be going against each other or whatever, so they're not supposed to talk to each other. I can almost damn well guarantee you they will. And I guarantee you that one of them will get a message to Caitlin for Austin. He said it's pronounced Speedosa. But I love all the names you call me. I will try to remember that. I'm going to write down German music box so I can get Google to pronounce it for me. And then when I remember, I'll try to say it correctly, but I can't promise you that I remember. Hey, Chuckalegs, good to see you. Did they let him talk to her or what? Not yet. He's not supposed to. She has not been charged with anything that I know of. I will double check in a second, but not that I know of.
I will rescind that in regards to any charge. So that case is set for preliminary hearing. Show this is rescinded with today's date in regard to this restraining order. Mr. Creasy, we'll get him back here then, okay?
That's all I have.
Yes, sir. Mr. Powell, thank you.
All right, let me see what's going on here. Who's next?
Are you ready to go in your case? Now, I want to.
Okay, that's De'Ara.
And the defense, the bond is reduced to $25,000.
Hold on.
I appreciate you submitting a motion. It appears though it is going to be a consent order on that. If you could draft a consent order for our file to be placed in, I'm sorry, for it to be placed in her file for the record. I'm going to show that
They want to share information, basically put something in her file as far as charges go for court. Real quick, Caitlin Speed is not currently charged with anything in Tennessee. There are reports of Austin Drummond, who is suspected of the homicide of 4 family members, but no information regarding Caitlin Speed's involvement in any charges has been disclosed. Okay, now let me tell you something. If Caitlin Speed was involved, I'm almost like, I really feel strongly that the only way anybody would ever know that she was involved is if they pulled it off the cell phones, or she confessed. I really think that if she's involved, if she is indeed pregnant with Austin Drummond's son, Austin Drummond will not snitch on her. Because he knows he's already going to death row possibly, or at least going to be in prison for the rest of his life. And so he's going to want to protect his child, his only child, therefore by proxy protecting her. So even if she is involved, unless the police pick up on it or she confesses, I don't think that she'll see charges, honestly. All right, let me pull this back up. The judge looked like he's pissed because he had to come in on his day off. I'm not even supposed to be here today. Which means all attorneys for these people will be outside attorneys. When there is co-defendants, they can't all use the public defender. Only one person will be able to. Darn poor taxpayers. Yep. She should be charged with facilitating smuggling contraband into the prison. She should. I think she only got fired from that job.
Bond in this case based on a consent motion.
This one was also a CO at the prison, allegedly. The one that's on the screen they're talking about right now.
That appears between the state of Tennessee and the defendant. The source hearing order is rescinded and lifted. She will be able to post her bond in this matter. In addition to that, based on an agreement between the state and the defense, the bond is reduced to $25,000. And Ms. Sanders, I do want to tell you, while we are doing that, we are also going to continue your case for a preliminary hearing. And I believe we agreed on September the 12th at 10 a.m. That's going to be a Friday morning. And you'll need to be here that day with your attorney ready to go in your case. Now, I want to remind you that you do have conditions on your bond that apply to you still, ma'am. Those conditions being that you must keep in contact with your attorney. You can have no contact with Austin Drummond, nor may you have any contact with any of the family members of Adriana Williams, Matthew Wilson, Brady.
Okay, so he is making it where they can't contact Austin or any of the other family members, and she's about to post bond.
Williams and Courtney Rose, or the minor child with initials WW. These cases are continued for a preliminary hearing on the 12th of September, and her bond is going to be reduced to $25,000. Ms. Cash, if you will give me an order to consent, I'll be happy to do that. Okay?
Thank you.
Ma'am.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thank
All right, lastly, I think this is going to be Tanaka.
Mr. Taylor, good morning, sir. Good morning. Mr. Taylor, I believe we have discussed
That's Tanaka Brown.
September the 12th for him also at 10 o'clock a.m. for preliminary hearing. Is that correct? That's correct. Anything else that we need to take up this morning regarding Mr. Brown other than setting this case for preliminary? I just want to make sure Mr. Brown first set it for preliminary hearing.
They're setting it for a preliminary hearing for September 12th. Fat Fox, the God, was Brandon Powell that we just saw. I don't know. I didn't see that. Let me back it up. Because she's only on for a minute. They're just setting a preliminary hearing for the 12th.
Still, ma'am, those conditions being that you must keep in contact with your attorney. You can have no contact with Austin Drummond, nor may you have any contact with any of the family members of Adriana Williams, Matthew Wilson, Brady Williams, and Courtney Rose, or the minor child with initials WW. These cases are continued for a preliminary hearing on the 12th of September, and her bond is going to be reduced to $25,000. Ms. Cash, if you will give me an order to consent, I'll be happy to do that. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Let me do the very beginning. I don't think
September
so.
the 12th at 10 a.m. That's going to be a Friday morning. And you'll need to be here that day with your attorney ready to go in your case. Now, I want to remind you that you do have conditions on your bond that apply to you still, ma'am. Those conditions being that
I think she's just holding her hands and praying, and then she scratched her ear. New Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell survivors. Just popped up on my computer. Okay. Tanaka Brown speaks for a second.
in addition to that, he has also requested a preliminary hearing. The court is going to reset your matter to September the 12th at 10 a.m. for a preliminary hearing in this case. Additionally, the court will also take up your motion to reduce bond on that date and time. I want to remind you of what your bond conditions are. Your bond conditions are, sir, that you will have no contact with the family of Adriana Williams, Matthew Wilson, Courtney Rose, and Braden Williams, or the minor child WW. You will have no contact with Mr. Austin Drummond, and you will also keep in contact with your attorney as a condition on your bond, sir. So we'll reset your matters to the 12th at 10 a.m. and we'll get you back here then. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
All right. So that was all of that. Let's jump over to X real quick so I can see if it's telling me what they're charged with. I think it's conspiracy. They're definitely going to be charged something to do with the homicides, because they're saying they can't have any contact. Now, I don't remember seeing Giovanni Thomas, and remember, that's this guy.
Club. Club.
Okay, so that's Giovanni, but I didn't see him. Yeah, he posted from inside that he had all that shit going on. What is this? Oh yeah, we talked about how he's listed as her husband. You have failed to work or call in on the following dates. Wait a minute. So this says, well, look at that. This is a segment of Caitlin Speed's termination letter from Northwest Correctional Complex, where she worked as a corrections officer. And it would appear that after Drummond was released from prison, she stopped showing up. She didn't give them a notice, return their calls, nothing. She just totally cut them off, leading them to issue a formal termination letter. Wow. So she wasn't even fired. It says, you have failed to report to work or call in on the following dates: Monday, October 7th, Tuesday, October 8th, Wednesday, October 9th, Thursday, October 10th, October 11th, October 14th, October 15th, October 16th, October 17th. Attempts have been made to reach out to you concerning your absence. However, no response has been received. Based on the information outlined above, we consider you as having resigned, not in good standing from your position with this department. You will receive a lump sum payment for any annual or compensatory leave to your credit. You are required to return your state-issued property, e.g. keys, cell phone, state-issued identification badge and card, and other property belonging to the state government. Please contact NWCX property officer to arrange return of any state property and pick up your personal items. As an initial probationary employee with this department, you are unable to appeal this separation through the appeal process pursuant to rules of Tennessee Department of Human Resources. So she was still on probation. Had she not even been there 90 days? That's crazy. That is crazy. This is alleged to be the road the bodies were found on and where the drone drops. Sources with direct knowledge of the situation tell us that at least one, possibly more, of the victims in Lake County may have been involved in the ongoing drug operation. And that's the road where they were found.
The person who found the vehicle told me that
And that goes to the prison yard, basically. I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, they say he asked to speak to his girlfriend. There's a letter from his dad. There are no words for the level of sadness we feel for the 4 young lives that were taken. The thought that our son could be responsible for such a tragedy is devastating. We urge Austin to turn himself in and end the panic and misery so many are feeling. The Drummond family. Yes, I don't think they would have bailed him out. So it says, ironically, a suspected killer's last night on the lam was spent in the lap of luxury. The pool house Austin Drummond hid in, between 600 and 800 square feet, has a big screen TV mounted on the wall, a dining room set with service for 8, a sofa, a love seat, a chair, and a coffee table. Art fills the pool house, and multiple fans were set up inside. Austin Drummond's apparent bed was made out of couch cushions on the floor of a closet inside the pool house. The caretaker, who came face to face with the suspected mass murderer, spoke to Fox 13 about the encounter. That's crazy. All right. So that goes way back. That's what we have on Austin. Hey, Zan, good to see you. We see the official termination, but we aren't privy to what else is on it. Yeah. 3, 6, or 9 months probation. Either way, she hadn't been there for longer than a year at the most. I can't believe that she was still on damn probation. Like, she got that job just so she could try to probably be around him for some reason or something to that effect. That's just freaking weird. All right, now we're going to talk about Devil's Den real quick. What Dainty Dane said on the way in. So this reads, man accused of killing married hikers in Devil's Den State Park pleads not guilty to homicide charges. I'm going to refresh this real quick. Yeah. There's this video. We can see what it says. I don't know what they're going to say, but after this daggum advertisement, I got to get Brave browser. Hey, Cowgal. Good to see you. Kimmy Doodles is laughing. Y'all need to act now for endurance. Y'all can call for a free quote. I'm not even get paid to say that. All right. I need volume.
Well, a 5-day manhunt is over after the man accused of killing 2 hikers in an Arkansas state park were taken into custody today. Andrew James McGann is charged with 2 counts of capital murder in the deaths of Kristen and Clinton Brink. The Arkansas State Police Director answered questions about the investigation earlier today. About the investigation earlier today.
The first part of the investigation is always going to be to identify and apprehend the suspect. The second part of the investigation is a lot of the whys and a lot of the details. That's still a part of the investigation.
I hope I wasn't muted. Lord have mercy. I'm sorry. Hold on. I was trying to read that letter to y'all. JoJo, we were talking about Brave browser. So I got up and I read this letter. I had to get real close to the daggum screen and I read it and I couldn't read it. I was trying to read it and I was daggum muted. But I'm not getting up again because it hurt my toe. It says, help, me and my son are stranded up the road to the right. Please get help. And I can't read the rest of it. Our family something. And it's placed with a rock. And I have no idea what this is. And I wanted to know what it said. I was trying to read it to y'all, but of course I was muted. So that's what was going on. Hey, Teresa. Yep. We spoke. JoJo's up. Good to see you.
We have no reason to believe that there was any known association between our suspects and our victims. There's nothing to indicate that at all. It appears to be a completely random event.
CBS News correspondent Omar Villafranca is in Springdale, Arkansas, with the very latest on the arrest.
We are here in Springdale, Arkansas, right in front of the beauty salon where the suspect, Andrew McGann, 28 years old, was arrested yesterday. He's the suspect in the double homicide that happened at a state park about 35 miles from here. Now, we talked to the woman who was cutting his hair. She said he walked in, he was quiet, he was reserved, didn't want to sign his name down when they told him to do that. She said he was quiet when she sat down and asked him what kind of haircut he wanted. Finally told her, didn't ask for anything drastic, just a trim. When she put the cape on him, she said a few minutes later, that's when somebody, a plainclothes officer, peeked his head in and asked whose car was this outside. It was a black Kia, and he finally responded it was his, and that's when the officer came in plainclothes and said, I'd like to talk to you over here. More officers came in, and they arrested him. Now, state police are giving more information. They say that it was a knife that was used in that brutal attack. They believe that he acted alone, and they are also telling us that he's expected to make his first court appearance.
Okay, so there's a short little recap. It says the article talking about him pleading not guilty says, let me make sure I'm not muted. Not muted. Okay. The teacher, who authorities say admitted to fatally stabbing 2 hikers at Devil's Den State Park in Arkansas last month, pled not guilty to homicide charges on Thursday, which was today. Andrew James McCann, 28, entered the plea during a brief hearing before a state judge at a Washington County jail Thursday morning. Circuit Judge Joanna Taylor scheduled McCann's next hearing for November 14th. Get off of my screen. McCann has been charged with 2 counts of capital homicide in the deaths of Clinton David Brink, 43. Oh my gosh. This is Chicken of the Woods. Where did you get it?
My friend's dad got it.
Oh, okay.
So he don't know how to cook it, but he gave it to you.
He doesn't know how to cook it?
No, ma'am.
So he doesn't want it back?
No. He gave it to you.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want me to put it in the refrigerator?
Yeah, we're going to eat it for dinner. Sorry, y'all. I got mushrooms. I got a mushroom delivery. I had to stop. I apologize. Okay, back to the article. McCann has been charged with 2 counts of capital homicide in the deaths of Clinton David Brink, 43, and Kristen Amanda Brink, 41, on July 26th. The pair were found deceased on a walking trail in the park. They had been in the park with their young daughters, aged 7 and 9. McCann allegedly attacked Clinton Brink first, officials said in a news conference after McCann's arrest. Kristen Brink rushed the girls to safety, then returned to help her husband. Both adults were stabbed to death, police said. The children were found uninjured about a half a mile into the park. The girls are now in the care of relatives. The family said the couple died heroes protecting their little girls. A 5-day manhunt followed the homicides. McCann was taken into police custody at a barbershop in Springdale, Arkansas on July 30th. He was charged the next day. Springdale is roughly 30 miles north of Devil's Den State Park. Arkansas Police COL Mike Hager said in the news conference that police do not have a motive for the homicides and no reason to believe that McCann knew the Brinks or their children. McCann was set to start a new job at Springdale Public Schools, but had not come into contact with any families or students, the district said in a statement. McCann previously worked in Texas and Oklahoma and left a job in Tulsa to take the position in Springdale. Officials said McCann had no criminal history and no known mental illness history. Oh, yeah, it was mushrooms. Chicken of the Woods. It's so good. State police have said McCann admitted to the killing shortly after his arrest and that investigators matched his DNA to blood found at the crime scene. Police said McCann was injured during the attack, which led to his blood being left at the scene. Authorities also received hundreds of tips from the public, including video footage that they said was instrumental in capturing McCann. Devil's Den is a 2,500-acre state park about 140 miles northwest of Little Rock, the capital city of Arkansas. The park is surrounded by the Ozark National Forest, and some hiking trail leads to those woods. I'm wondering why he's pleading not guilty. Oh, I wonder why he's pleading not guilty when they found his blood at the scene and he admitted to it. No, chicken of the wood. It tastes like chicken. It tastes like it's a mushroom that tastes like chicken. It's like orange. When you cook it, it's amazing. I wish I could find morel. There's no morels in my area. Hold on, I'll show you. It reminds me of that guy, that guy in the news anchor movie talking about he's feeding everybody bat chicken of the forest or something. He's feeding them bat meat. That's what it looks like. She brought me a big old bag, and they were bright orange like these. They look like that. And that's how they grow on the trees. And you cook them just, oh, hold on. Okay, she brought me some that look just like that, and you cook them, and they taste like chicken. Like, you prepare it, like, you fry them in butter and stuff, and it tastes like chicken. And I actually didn't have any meat to cook tonight, so we're gonna make that because we eat it. I've had them before. Like, I found enough for us to have for dinner, and our family likes it. I love them. Hey, Miss King. Okay, back to Devil's Den. I don't understand why he's pleading not guilty, and his blood was found at the scene, and he admitted to the homicides. I don't understand that. While we're talking about him, we're going to go to this video because I don't know if you guys remember, but they were saying he could have possibly committed a homicide in Vermont. Well, now they're saying he could have possibly committed a homicide in Missouri. Let's go down. That was Vermont. Okay, hold on. It's not in that playlist. It's in this one. Nope. Okay. Dang, I got another one for Austin Drummond, though. Oh my gosh. Okay. That was Vermont. Lord have mercy. Wisconsin. That's the one I'm looking for. So we can watch this real quick while we're talking about him.
Andrew McGann is the accused Devil's Den State Park killer in Arkansas. He's now under arrest. He was busted at a barber shop. He's accused of stabbing a mom and dad to death who were just on a weekend hike with their young daughters. Could he also be the man who police say stabbed and killed a hiker at Devil's Lake State Park in Wisconsin nearly 5 years ago? What makes these cases so similar to the point that detectives are now looking into that possibility? We're on the case presented by...
Okay, we're going to wait for his little music to go by, and then we'll see what he has to say. I don't watch the whole video. I'll link it so you guys can watch the whole thing.
Andrew McGann.
But we're just going to get basically the breakdown of what is going on and why they think he could have committed this homicide at Devil's Lake.
Have struck years before he allegedly killed a mom and dad who were hiking with their young daughters at Devil's Den State Park in Arkansas. Detectives in Wisconsin are now looking into that possibility. I talked to a detective in Sauk County, Wisconsin this morning about the unsolved murder of a man named John Schmutzer. He was just 24 years old when he was stabbed to death inside Devil's Lake State Park on October 14th, 2020. Obviously, there is the similarity in the names of the parks: Devil's Den State Park in Arkansas and Devil's Lake State Park north of Madison in Wisconsin. Devil's Lake.
Okay, just me, good to see you. Said it's common for first appearance to plead not guilty. I do agree with that. And it could be just, going through the motions. I'm just wondering, is he going to say, because at this point, the only thing he could say that might work would be guilty due to insanity, or so, like an insanity plea. Not guilty, excuse me, I apologize. Not guilty due to insanity. Because if he's going to stick with that, I don't understand how, when he's already admitted to committing the homicides. But you're definitely right. He used to live in Chicago too. Wow. This dude is scary. Like, killing with no apparent motive, not knowing the victims. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to think that he could have done this before, honestly, because he didn't know the victims. There's no apparent motive unless you say he wanted the girls. But I mean, if he wanted the girls, I don't think it would have been that hard to find them. Thank God Christy and Clinton hid them. I don't know. I've still got a lot of questions. Gives him and the attorney time. I agree. Geez, said Dolly. Such a pattern. I got a speeding ticket when my dad was sick, wanting to get to him, had to go to court, and the judge said, "Why did you plead guilty?" And answered himself, "Because you were." He dismissed it. I think he did it before. This man has straight up evil in his eyes, just pure hatred for life. I agree.
Lake State Park is actually the busiest state park in the Badger State, and it was very busy on the fall day that Schmutzer was killed because it was prime leaf watching season. And so many people, detectives say, came to the park that day to see the changing leaves, driving from states away to do it. Police say it was at 11:38 in the morning, right at the middle of the day, that someone attacked and killed John Schmutzer. He was stabbed to death on Grottoes Trail on the south side of this state park. Detectives say there were no pictures of the suspect, but multiple people saw someone who is considered the person of interest to this day in this unsolved murder.
Real quick, Dolly reminded me that he had prepared the duct tape on the license plate. He may have already been seasoned in this. It was very premeditated to the point that part of the park had no signal. I didn't even realize that part of the park had no signal. I didn't even think about the license plate, the duct tape on the license plate. That does make me feel like he's done it before, or at least he did some studying before he went out there and did it, at the very least.
Get to that description, it's important to compare how this case in Wisconsin's Devil's Lake State Park played out compared to the murders that McGann's now accused of committing at Devil's Den State Park in Arkansas. I also want to be clear before we go any further, Andrew McGann's not accused in this case out of Wisconsin, and the detectives that are working that case tell me at this point, everything's preliminary and they're really just exchanging notes with detectives in Arkansas. McGann's currently being held without bond in Northwest Arkansas for allegedly killing Kristen and Clinton Brink on July 26th of this year in Devil's Den State Park in Arkansas. This couple had just moved to Arkansas with their young daughters. Clinton, the dad, was expecting to start a new job the following Monday as a milk delivery driver. Police say the couple were hiking in a remote part of the park. There was no cell service, and then McGann attacked his family with a knife. He allegedly went for Clinton, the father, first. At that point, Kristen, the mom, rushed their 7- and 9-year-old daughters to safety, and those girls provided key information that helped bring Andrew McGann to justice and into custody. Now, those girls were able to get to a visitor's station and call 911. But Kristen, their mom, went back to try and help her husband, Clinton, and that's when police say McGann stabbed and killed her. McGann fled. Police say he did it in a black Kia sedan. It had the license plate covered with some form of black tape. But the fact they were able to identify it as a Kia helped them track McGann to a barbershop. In fact, McGann really didn't hide his vehicle. He drove that car allegedly to that barbershop where he was arrested on June 30th. It was parked right outside. He was just about 5 minutes into his haircut when detectives entered the barbershop and they put him under arrest. We talked to the barbers who were there that day, and they say what stood out to them was that McGann would not give his name, and he also didn't want any hair cut off the top of his head. And they told us they think that's because he wanted to cover his face as he was still on the run. Police believe they have a very strong case in Arkansas against Andrew James McGann. They say,
yeah, they've got his DNA at the scene. He admitted to it. JoJo said that's why the sketch was off. It was done by the girls. I also heard that some other people saw him and provided the sketch as well earlier on in this case.
They have the murder weapon. They have DNA that ties him to the murders. And they also say he confessed to some extent while he was in custody. It's unclear specifically what he said. We have requested video of the interrogation, and one day, once this case is settled, maybe we'll be able to see that. McGann has yet to enter a plea, and he's being represented by a public defender. When he was on the run, police released this picture, allegedly of McGann in dark clothing on the day of the Brinks murders. They say
now he has pled not guilty, as we found out, but that just happened today.
It was a witness who took this picture of McGann from behind. Now, police had described the person of interest at that point as a medium-built white man wearing sunglasses, fingerless gloves, and he had dark clothing on with that backpack. Witnesses also say they saw him allegedly leave the park with blood on his face. You compare that description to the one that law enforcement in Wisconsin have put out to the public as they are working the murder of John Schmutzer at Devil's Lake State Park. Again, this was a murder back in 2020. The detective I talked with this morning say that witnesses call the person of interest in this case the runner. And the runner is still the person of interest in this murder to this day. Now, they don't
The runner.
have any pictures of the runner, but he is described as a 5'10" white man who was wearing all dark clothing and was seen running frantically through the park at the time of Schmutzer's murder in October 2020. Detectives say they do not have the murder weapon in this case. Now, we've been trying to put together the background of
It would be really hard to pin him as being the person who committed the crime if he ran away quickly and there is no murder weapon and like nobody saw his face. I don't know. Like unless they were able to get him on camera or something. And there's no sketch or anything. I don't know if they'll be able to pin it on him or not.
Andrew James McGann and understanding how he got to Arkansas. And Wisconsin may line up with where he was around 2020. McGann is a public school teacher by trade, which is disturbing in and of itself. He was going to start teaching at a public elementary school the week after his arrest in Springdale, Arkansas. When we first...
Thank God those little girls are going to be protected. Hey, Blue Giraffes, good to see you. Yeah, Devil's Den and Devil's Lake. Very interesting.
Heard the name Andrew James McGann, we put his name into truthfinder.com. And surprisingly, nothing really came up. And that says a lot because Truthfinder rarely can't find information on someone. And that's kind of a story in and of itself where it appears that McGann really tried to cover his tracks. Here at Law and Crime, we partner with Truthfinder. Almost anyone. And by the way, right now you can get 50% off your first month of confidential background reports. Just go to truthfinder.com/OT.
He does look like Lurch from the Addams Family, doesn't he? Let's see. Hold on. What do y'all think? I think there's a definite resemblance. Oh, really? I had something else on him that we might go back and talk about. Thank you, JoJo. Southern Cat said, y'all don't do that to Lurch. All right.
McGann was hired by at least 5 different school districts between Arkansas, Texas, and Oklahoma just in the last 3 years, going back to 2022. Prior to that, we know that McGann grew up in the southwestern suburbs of Chicago. And we actually spoke to one of his childhood friends recently who said that McGann had somewhat of a very normal upbringing. He played Little League baseball. His dad was the coach of the Little League team. His mom was from Oklahoma, and that's why the friend believed he moved out west. Now, when I asked about what stood out to him now, thinking of Andrew McGann, the accused killer, he said without a doubt his anger was a major problem and it made people uncomfortable. He also said that at some point after high school, McGann cut off a lot of people that he spoke with, blocking them on social media, really out of the blue.
From what I know, people that were really close to him, he they all lost contact with him. Like, I don't know what happened, honestly, but they said, yeah, he ended up blocking me or something. And that's what I've heard. So
now it's unclear.
You know, what the first thing that came to mind when I heard that, good to see you, Kathleen, was that if he's trying to be predatory towards children, and you think about children being online, on Facebook, not necessarily Facebook, but like Instagram and things like that, I'm thinking maybe he deleted everybody so he could only have young kids as friends on Facebook. You know how like sometimes the teacher will give out their Facebook, which I think is weird, but I've heard about it, you know, in other cases. My children don't go to public school because for a lot of reasons, but sometimes the teacher will give out their Facebook or something like that, or share like their Instagram or something. I wonder if he was doing that and got rid of like older friends, so no other adult would be like, why do you got a bunch of kids on there? Like, why are you following a bunch of kids? And so he could give his screen names to kids to be a fucking creepy pervert and follow them. I don't know. It's just something that came to mind when I heard that.
Clear what happened in McGann's life for him to cut off so many people who he grew up with and what we've been told was a pretty close-knit community, and for him to move away from the Midwest. The suburbs of Chicago, obviously not that far from Wisconsin, and Devil's Lake State Park is a place where people from the Chicago area go to see the changing leaves and take in some nature in the fall. The detective I spoke to said one of the big challenges they faced in this investigation is that there were so many people in the park that day, so many people that traveled from states away, that came, saw the leaves, and then went back home to wherever that may be, that it was hard to interview every single person who may have seen something. And there may still be people today who are jogging their memories, thinking about what they saw on that trip in 2020, and they are still hoping people reach out for information that could help them solve the murder of John Schmutzer. Now, this isn't the only cold case that law enforcement has contacted police in Arkansas about after McGann's arrest. Vermont State Police reached out about the October 3rd, 2023 murder of...
So we did look into that, and Vermont said that at this time they think it's unrelated. I haven't heard much about this.
77-year-old Honore Fleming. She was a former college dean who entered a hiking trail in Castleton, Vermont around 4 p.m. one day, and then she was found dead at 4:30 p.m. She had a gunshot wound to the head. This is the sketch that Vermont State Police put out almost 2 years ago. They also put out a description from witnesses, and they say the person of interest in that murder was described as a male standing about 5'10", having short red hair, and he was wearing a dark gray t-shirt and carrying a black backpack. Now, even though that description does sound very similar to Andrew McGann, we admit it sounds like a lot of people. Police in Vermont say, after talking with Arkansas police last week, at this point, there is, quote, no known link between those cases. But we do want to say, if you have any information about the murder of Honore Fleming, contact Vermont State Police. Joining us now is retired police sergeant and cold case expert Troy Hillman. Thank you.
All right, I usually don't play that part. That's interesting. Honestly, if I'm being honest and giving you my honest thoughts and opinions on that, I don't think that they'll be able to connect it to if they literally just saw somebody running away in black. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see them. There's not enough evidence there to connect it to him or anybody, if I had to give you my thoughts on that. Real quick, before we move on, I did want to show y'all about Austin Drummond. I had something on that real quick. Where was it? Hold on, I'm looking for it. It's Bryan Kohburger. Maybe not. Okay, we might be moving on. Let me pull up my page so you can at least see that, what I'm looking at. Where is it? It's not here. Was it here? Yeah. I did see this about Austin Drummond. I wanted to show y'all real quick. It's only about 2 minutes. I haven't watched it, and I think it's probably talking about the drugs at the prison.
Show Austin Drummond's.
But we can watch it real quick. This is from WRAG News Channel.
Now, News 5 on your news leader. We're digging deeper into Austin Drummond's criminal past while he was in and out of prison in Lake County. Drummond, who's being held without bond, is charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. WRG's Mike Surian reports from Lake County on how Drummond is now implicated in another crime.
Court documents released here Thursday in Lake County show Austin Drummond's continued use with illegal drugs and his involvement in an alleged attempt to smuggle contraband into a correctional facility just outside of Tiptonville, partnering with a man named Brandon Powell. Brandon Powell in custody, appearing in Lake County Court Thursday for arraignment by Judge Andrew Cook.
It's alleged that
Here, Sandra, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. And I really appreciate that. Those went to Kane's Nana, Mega Scott, Tallulah Abel, Courtney Reagan, NZ Dog Lover. If you guys were gifted, please tell Sandra, thank you. Thank you so much, Sandra, for gifting those memberships. And I will grab, you said all aboard, so I'll do Polar Express this time. Thank you so much, girl. Love your face. Thank you. I appreciate that. All aboard. Thank you. Love your face. Hey, Lori. Good to see you. All right, let's see what they say about Austin.
on the 18th of June, Mr. Powell traveled to Lake County, Tennessee with a Mr. Austin Drummond with the intention of delivering marijuana, tobacco, and an ear-piercing kit to an inmate at the local prison in Tiptonville, Tennessee.
Court documents show in the early morning hours of June 19th, law enforcement tried to stop a vehicle reportedly driven by Austin Drummond, who refused to stop and was seen throwing objects out of the vehicle. Evidence collected indicated a drone was going to be used to deliver the contraband, including cell phones, and that 3 other suspects were involved in the conspiracy. Drummond reportedly gave Powell's name to investigators.
See, Drummond snitched out Brandon Powell. And what's the ear piercing kit about? I'm wondering.
Mr. Drummond identified Mr. Powell as the driver of the trail car assisting with the delivery.
WREG investigators dug deep into Drummond's drug problems while in prison, and with audio from a July 23, 2020 parole board hearing where Drummond blamed his drug abuse for not remembering a gas station holdup in Jackson when he was 17 years old.
What did you have? It was a BB gun. Honestly, I was on Xanax that night. I don't even remember doing anything.
Using any other drugs or alcohol around that time?
No, just Xanax, alcohol, and marijuana.
For your news leader in Lake County, Mike Sirianni, WREG News Channel 3.
Now, according to District Attorney Danny Goodman, Brandon Powell is only considered an accomplice of Drummond's in that June incident and not in connection with the 4 murders in Lake County. Powell, Drummond, and 3 other suspects charged with Drummond as accessories will be in court August 14th.
So, and they were in court today. I think they're getting charged with conspiracy, but I don't know. Maybe for doing tattoos. Yeah. Someone wants a prison glow up. Hey, Orange Rose, good to see you. Those 3 together will make you forget what you did. Yeah. Xanax, alcohol, and weed. Yeah. Snitches getting stitches. Yep. All right. Let's talk about, that was the last thing I had on Austin. I forgot to play it earlier. Now we're going to talk about Bryan Kohburger real quick. And then we're going to talk about a serial killer that they have caught out in the West Coast areas that I wanted to show y'all. Okay, let's talk about, I'll read the article about his mummy, and then we'll talk about what it's been like, people waiting for him once he got to prison. So this article is from People, and it's titled, Bryan Kohburger called his mother after Idaho homicides once when he got home, and again while driving back to the crime scene. I find that interesting. I'm waiting for the ad to end. Oh, it's just going to be words. Okay. So it says, Heather Barnhart, the digital forensics expert who led the team tasked with examining Bryan Kohburger's phone and hard drive, is speaking to People about the case. Barnhart says that Kohburger called his mother at 6:17 a.m. on November 30th of 2022, less than 2 hours after the homicide of 4 University of Idaho students. Her investigation also discovered, no thank you, that Kohburger called his mother again for 54 minutes at 8:03 a.m., which would have been when he returned to the crime scene that morning. Bryan Kohburger called his mother less than 2 hours after he committed the homicide of 4 University of Idaho students. The former criminology student, who was 30, called his mother, Marianne Kohburger, at 6:17 a.m. on the morning of November 13, 2022, shortly after he arrived back at the residence he was living at on the West Washington State University campus. This new information comes from Heather Barnhart, the digital forensics expert who led the team while examining Kohburger's phone and hard drive. She is now speaking with people about the case, which she became part of after the Latah County Prosecuting Attorney's Office brought her own to assist in their investigation. Kohburger first reached out to his mother at 6:13 a.m. that morning, and when she did not answer, he called his father at 6:14, Barnhart said, citing the exhaustive records assembled by her team. He had his parents saved as mother and father in his phone, says Barnhart, and would often call his mother first, followed immediately after by his father if he did not get an answer. And he would go back and forth texting, "Father, why did mother not respond? Why is she not answering the phone?" Barnhart says, wow. No, seriously though, wow. Like he's texting, his literal text says, "Father, why did mother not respond? Why is she not answering the phone?" Like he's hyperventilating because his mom didn't answer the phone. This is just weird. Hey, Karen. Good to see you. Kalisa, good to see you. Oh, yeah. Allie come in and threw a fit this morning. Lord have mercy. It's like, what is that? Yeah, Norman Bates vibes for real. This morning she did eventually answer, and they spoke for 36 minutes. It wasn't long after Kohburger and his mother got off the phone that he called her a second time. Then at 8:03 a.m., another outgoing call to mother that lasted 54 minutes, says Barnhart. The timing of that call means Kohburger would have been speaking with his mother while in his car driving back to the scene of the crime. Latah County Prosecuting Attorney Bill Thompson said at Kohburger's plea hearing that he spent 10 minutes at the crime scene around 9 a.m., which would be around the time he got off the phone with his mother. He also spent 9 minutes on the phone with his mother at 9 a.m., says Barnhart, connecting with her just minutes after their previous conversation. He called her at 6-something, and then 8:03 talked to her for 54 minutes. So literally almost 9 o'clock. And then right after 9 o'clock, he called and talked to her again. Like he was literally off the phone for like 10 minutes. The two spoke for 2 minutes at 4:05 p.m. and at 5:53 p.m. had their final conversation, which lasted an hour and a half. By the end of that day, Kohburger and his mother had spoken on the phone for well over 3 hours. Not present at on Kohburger's phone were any texts with friends or any person outside his family. There was a group chat, but it was all Bennigan conversations, Barnhart said. Kohburger would mostly speak to his parents, says Barnhart, who adds that Kohburger would start calling his mother as early as 4 a.m. some days. Wow. This information was all gathered from the Samsung Galaxy phone Kohburger owned and had purchased in June around the same time he moved to Washington from Pennsylvania. This guy is freaking weird. Benign, thank you. Kat said, I believe his family suspected him immediately when the news broke. I knew the sister had suspicions. So 3 would be over there. If he started calling her at 4 a.m. over there, it would have been 7 a.m. over here. Barnhart notes that Kohburger had completely powered his phone off between 2:54 and 4:48, a move likely meant to protect himself while he committed the homicides. In the end, it was a move that proved to be incredibly revealing, she explains. When he powered it all off, it was from a human pressing a button and the battery was at 100% charged, Barnhart said. That was a pretty awesome moment, says Barnhart, who has previously done digital forensics on the Gabby Petito case and the Delphi homicides and the capture of Osama bin Laden. She went on to say that the discovery meant Kohburger's defense team could not claim his phone happened to die around the time of the homicides. The head of CX strategy and advocacy at Cellbrite, Jared Barnhart, who is also Heather Barnhart's husband, points out that the phone being off seemed to be in conflict with Kohburger's alibi as well. If you're stargazing and taking pictures of the sky, your phone needs to be on, said Barnhart, referencing a comment made by her husband in a court filing. In the end, that alibi did not matter. On July 2nd, Kohburger appeared in court and confessed to the killing of the four University of Idaho students, Madison Mogan, 21, Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, Xander Kernodle, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 20. 3 weeks later, he was back in court where he was sentenced to serve 4 lifetimes in prison for the homicides. In the courtroom that day were 2 of Kohburger's family members, his sister Amanda and his mother. He ignored them both as he left the courtroom. This crazy person right here hyperventilating when mommy doesn't answer the phone. I agree, Kimmy. I wish they would have made him testify for that deal. I do too. I agree. He's got some mummy issues. I need to call my mommy. I gotta call my mommy. Like, it's ridiculous. Y'all, I don't even call my husband that much. Like, really? Come on now. Lord have mercy. Dysfunction junction. Now we've got some information about people waiting for Kohburger in prison. Let's talk about that real quick.
But instead, I want to bring in Chris McDonough. He's the director of the Cold Case Foundation, a retired homicide detective and co-host of The Interview Room on
I've heard that
YouTube.
too.
Chris, good to have you on the show again. I don't know what it is about hearing news like that, but it just makes me feel good in a story where I have yet to feel even an ounce of good.
So, I don't know how much he's calling her from prison, but I'm sure it's a lot. And considering that he tends to trip out on anybody talking about his mummy, I don't know. This case is getting a little bit weirder, as if it couldn't already.
How true is it? How bad is it?
Oh, Lori, I'm sorry.
Actually, the good news is the inmates apparently were waiting for him. And when he got there, they are now making his life absolutely miserable. They're utilizing the vent system. They're kicking the doors. They're taunting him. And they're basically, torturing him through, using psychology.
Ooh, the psychology student. Oh, man, the roles are reversed. How interesting. So they're using the vent systems to talk to him and probably talk shit to him. They're kicking the doors when they walk by. They're talking shit to him. Ooh. They're going to psychologically break him. Interesting. And you remember Kaylee Gonzalez's dad was talking about that he's got some people waiting for him there. Miss Scorpio Rising gifted 5 Speculation Station memberships. Thank you so much for that. Those went to Unique Rhythm, White and Nerdy, Cindy Karen, Tammy Smith, and April. Thank you so much, Miss Scorpio Rising. That was so very sweet and supportive of you, and I really appreciate that. Thank you. I will grab the crazy train to pick our new members up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Hey, Bax. Choo-choo. Choo-choo. Yep, they turned it around on the psychology student. How interesting.
My goodness, he's complaining And the guards at this point, the most they can do is write it down or, tell them, hey, there's nothing we can do. You're not in physical harm.
Ooh.
I have so many more.
So they're not going to do shit about it because he's not physically in harm. They're going to psychologically break him down. Oh my God. This is chef's kiss.
Questions, and I'm going to ask them, but I do want to touch on that last little bit, physical
You're good,
harm,
Miss Scorpio.
because as I understand it, he's in cages within his cage, meaning he's in a cell for 23 hours a day, and there's a slat for food. He gets out for an hour a day, but if he gets out, he goes into this big room in the middle, and there's usually a cage in the middle where he can be, or he can be handcuffed to one of those little desky type tables if there are other inmates who are nearby. How can people get close to his door? How could people get close to him and actually put him in physical danger, or can they?
Well, actually, there are about 32 inmates apparently in the J block currently. And within those 32 folks, they are the worst of the worst, outside of death row, of course. And he's in J block. So what that would be, that's called a special housing unit, right? An SHU. And it's really a prison within a prison. However, the disadvantage that he's at, there's not a whole bunch of room where they can start moving other inmates around. So what they want to do is keep him in protective custody right now until, he goes through the process of where do we fit this guy through the whole.
So he's basically in a prison in the prison and having to stay there until they figure out where to house him at. Zan said, I heard he can't take a shower every day either. I bet he can't. Especially if there's overcrowding and then his OCD on top of that. Oh, yeah. This is going to be hell on earth for him. And in my opinion, he deserves it.
Whole prison system for the rest of his life. And so he's meeting with doctors, he's going through, the systems of evaluation, and they're not going to put him into general population. But until that happens, the inmates have come up with a creative idea in harassing him to the point where, it's basically driving him crazy.
The inmates are harassing him to a point that they're driving him crazy. He is way too soft for prison. I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm smiling. I'm sorry, I am. He can't be protected forever. I agree. And they'll eventually get him. They will. If they haven't already. They're going to fuck him up. He's going to get his ass beat. And he deserves it.
So I have a question about that. How does it happen that they are all in collusion, almost creating a 24-hour schedule? Is that normal? Does this happen a lot, that prisoners will band together and say, let's get that one guy and let's all work together to do it?
I don't know if they necessarily band together outside of they knew he was coming. This was such a high-profile situation. They were aware that he was coming to, the IMAX prison up there in Kuna. And so they got together and said, okay, well, how do we harass this guy? And so my understanding is there's a couple of different ways of doing it. You can do it through the door, through the slot. The whole facility as a whole was built in 1989. So it's just one concrete echo chamber.
And it is. I've been in a couple of county jails where they're just, it literally is just one big concrete echo chamber. And it's amazing to me that inmates that probably didn't get along before he got there, everybody from different gang affiliations and everything just band together and said, we're going to get this motherfucker. That is chef's kiss. Kelly, good to see you. Snarky Pants said he's not so tough when he's dealing with people like himself. Too bad for him. I'm sure he'll tell his mommy, mother. Right. We talk about a few things. I love this. I love that for him.
And so they also can do it by kicking the doors They even have folks that are called door warriors that just kick the doors to drive people crazy. And
Oh, wow.
they can talk through the vents. And believe it or not, actually, one of the vents they can talk to through is they remove the water out of the toilet, and they can actually talk through the toilet.
Y'all, see? See, I wasn't lying to y'all when I talked about them girls that would talk in the toilet. Listen again. He's talking about it right now. Them girls would have pimples all over their face, and we would say, oh, she been talking in the damn toilet. Listen.
The water out of the toilet, and they can talk through the vents. And believe it or not, actually, one of the vents they can talk to through is they remove the water out of the toilet, and they can actually talk through the toilet to another cell near.
Usually it's the cell under or above you, and you would take an empty toilet paper roll and you would stick it in the hole of the toilet after you took all the water out, and it would create like a megaphone effect. So you could talk to people that were in the cell above you or the cell below you, and sometimes the cell next door, depending on where the toilet like connected to the rest of the system. I told y'all I wasn't lying.
It's like this gigantic, acoustic chamber.
Yep.
But my understanding is they're using the vents currently.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe.
Stop yelling at me, Chris Como. God. So yeah, they're using the toilet. Lord have mercy. I love that for him. I really do. My back hurts too, Max. I'm sorry. Toilet portals. AKA Respect Pickles. Good to see you. Wonder what makes Bryan Kohburger, mom and dad, not so innocent in this. There had to pet issues or red flags, etc. I think there was definitely red flags, and I think that's why they thought that he did it relatively quickly after they found out about the homicides. Blue Giraffe said, they were all talking shit. Oh, my toe is better. It's still a little sore, but I'll be all right. I have to say my children do the same thing. They worry about me, and I know I don't go anyplace but very rarely. But no, tons of time day usually to say good morning and good night. Well, that's sweet. I mean, I don't think they're like, I don't know. I find it weird between Bryan and his mother. Maybe I'm just being too cynical. Thea said, can't remember who it was that went to the prison and showed the cells that cage. Paint is chipping everywhere. The sink, toilets, and the mirrors. Don't know how they see themselves in the mirror. Them mirrors aren't really mirrors. Portal potties, said Jennifer. That's funny. Good to see you, Jennifer. Just got home. Well, I'm glad you're home and off until Monday. Apparently, the toilet is very useful. You can cook and communicate and make wine in it. Absolutely. Yep, all of the things. Interesting. Okay. So now we can talk about the accused Oregon serial killer. We're just having kind of like a bunch of different news stories today because I didn't have anything very specific to go over. So this one is titled,
became known as the Portland Five.
Hold on. Suspected serial killer caught creeping around the West Coast. So we have a new serial killer to talk about, along with Long Island serial killer. Him and Chad Daybell tell Potty Portal. I heard that they were close to each other or on the same unit or something to that effect. After the use, it adds extra flavor. That's disgusting. I don't know. Okay, I'll check my email. All right, I'm going to play this right now. So this is a suspected serial killer caught creeping around the West Coast. I don't know much about it.
They were all taken too soon. The Portland Five will never be forgotten.
A suspected serial killer in Oregon is now charged with murdering 4 women and suspected in the death of a 5th.
We are dedicated to pressing forward to obtain justice for these victims and for their families.
The families of the women are not giving up on their fight for answers and justice. And one mother has a message for Jessie Lee Calhoun.
You are not the smartest person in the room. You think that you are, and maybe the day of your crime you were. But you're no longer in your room. You're in my room.
Oh, she seemed very upset. Poor thing. So I've requested documents too, but oh yeah, the $20,000. Oh yeah, I've heard that. It is $20,000 to get Bryan Kohburger's records from the city of Moscow. I heard that. All right, so back to the serial killer. Thank you for sending me that. But yeah, I requested the crime scene photos, but they gave me the same bullshit. Like, oh, it's going to take an extended period of time to get back to you on that. So I don't know.
Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. There is an absolutely terrifying case that's been unfolding in Oregon since 2023. I actually covered this case for you back in June of that year when there were real fears that a serial killer was on the loose. Between February and May of 2023, the bodies of 6 women were found within a 100-mile radius of Portland, Oregon. The first victim was Kristen Smith. Her body was found on February 19th, 2023. Joanna Speaks was also murdered. Her body was found in early April 2023. Bridget Webster vanished in early March, and her body was found on April 30th. Also discovered in late April of 2023, the body of Charity Perry. And then Ashley Real was found in May of that year. The remains of an unidentified Native American woman were found in late April, but the Portland Police Bureau said at that time that her death was not suspicious. The 5 victims, the women with families who loved them, became known as the Portland Five, and their deaths stoked fear that a serial killer was at work. And it appears that fear was legitimate and warranted. Jessie Lee Calhoun has been in custody since June of 2023. In July of that year, police said they had a person of interest in the murders, but they didn't identify him publicly until May of 2024.
So Jessie Lee Calhoun, possible serial killer. I'm writing it down. I wonder why. What I noticed about the victims is they did all kind of look similar. They had darker hair, paler complexion, except the possible Native American woman who might not have been related to the case specifically. He looks kind of creepy, but he's one of those that wouldn't stand out necessarily to me as a serial homicider.
But there are questions about whether Calhoun should have been on the streets in 2023 at all. Calhoun had a criminal history, including convictions for burglary and theft. He started serving a 4-year sentence in 2019 on the...
Wait a minute. Tom said, weirdest, craziest person I've ever known was from Oregon. All my friends always thought he was a serial killer. I thought you were saying you knew him. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Charges, but was granted clemency in 2021 because of good behavior and because he worked as a prison firefighter during wildfire season in 2020, according to...
Okay, so he got out because at that time they were doing this thing where they would take prison inmates and they would put them out there to fight the wildfires. I remember hearing about it, and they got time off or time served for good behavior because they went out there and they fought the fires with the firefighters when the wildfires were so bad. I remember hearing about that. So he was part of that. Okay. Let me back this up and start it over again so we can get not all the way over, but just talking about him specifically so I can get this and we can get this information and write it down and see what we can find out. All right.
Said they had a person of interest in the murders, but they didn't identify him publicly until May of 2024. But there are questions about whether Calhoun should have been on the streets in 2023 at all. Calhoun had a criminal history, including convictions for burglary and theft. He started serving a 4-year sentence in 2019 on those charges, but was granted clemency in 2021 because of good behavior and because he worked as a prison firefighter during wildfire season in 2020, according to Fox 12 Oregon. That clemency was revoked by another governor in 2023 when it became clear that Jesse Lee Calhoun was a person of interest in the homicides. Now Calhoun has been charged with murdering 4 of the Portland 5.
We are here today to announce that the grand jury has indicted Jesse Calhoun for the November 20th, 2022 murder of Kristen Smith. As you may know, Mr. Calhoun is already charged with murdering Charity Perry, Joanna Speaks, and Bridget Webster between the dates of March and April of 2023.
He committed 4 homicides in 1 month in 2023. Oh my God. If they've got him on 4 homicides in 1 month, there's way more out there. Way more out there. Because even to build up to where you commit the first homicide is going to take you years, okay? And then it's going to be some years between the next one, or at least a year, I would say, typically, statistically. And then it's when it becomes more monthly. By the time you get to where you're having 4 homicides committed in 1 month, that's a desire that's needing to be fed, an addiction. At that point, you're addicted to committing these homicides, and you're feeding that beast of being addicted to the thrill and the adrenaline that you're getting from the homicides. So by this time, you're very well seasoned, is what I'm thinking. Yeah, this is crazy. I had not heard about this.
This indictment adds 2 additional counts: murder in the 2nd degree and abuse of a corpse in the 2nd degree.
The DA says that Kristen Smith was the first victim of Jesse Calhoun and that she was murdered on November 20th, 2022. Her mother, Melissa, spoke at the press conference.
Okay. As a lot of you may know, this is my other daughter, Haley, that's been right there beside me this whole nightmare of a roller coaster. But I'm sorry, I'm really overwhelmed with emotion. I stayed strong, doing all I could, trying to save my daughter. And it was just unbearable to find out I was too late and needed help finding her. And I did everything I could to try to get answers and fight and search. And I couldn't have done any of that or survived each day if it wasn't for my family, if it wasn't for my daughter.
Oh.
Without my friends. Friends that didn't care where we were going or what we were doing. We just went and we were searching, hanging flyers, everything. I want to thank everybody for all the support and love and keeping Kristen's name and memory alive and not forgotten. I thank the other victims' families for staying by my side the whole way.
Teresa said people typically work up to homicide, then multiples, so he probably has a string of less violent victims in his wake. I'm thinking that they said that he did commit like the burglary and robbery is what I've got written down. Burglary and theft in 2020, 2021, let out on good behavior, clemency for firefighting, and accused of murdering 4 of the Portland 5. This one goes back to 2022, though. Studies suggest that there are possibly anywhere from 20 to 50 active serial killers in the U.S. alone. It's hard to say an exact number, though, which that alone is scary to think about. It is. And then you think about family members, loved ones, friends that you've got out on the streets. I mean, I've known people that died of overdoses, and then you've got these threats, too, because they're looked at as easy targets, you know? A couple of the moms took Eaton to the places where they were murdered. So sad to watch them. Oh my God. That is sad. Police didn't do much to warn people about this man. I don't think they did either. I don't know. That there are at least 2,000 unidentified serial killers in the U.S., active and inactive ones. I believe that number too. The worst serial unalivers already in the U.S. They just haven't been caught. It's someone changing MO and stay constantly. That's what I was talking about in that movie, Suspect Zero. He drove trucks all across the United States and he didn't have a MO. He just killed random people and they were using like remote viewing to find him and stuff. It's a good movie, but back to this. Sad.
We searched together, we fought together, and we never gave up. And to still stay by my side, even after Jesse Calhoun was indicted for your 3 loved ones, and Kristen wasn't. You're here with me today.
I cover a lot of really scary crime stories here on Crime Fix, and if it's taught me
Okay, I'm going to pass that. Hold on.
As Melissa Smith spoke, you could tell that she feared that charges might not come in her daughter's case.
Really?
It's been a long, agonizing 898 days since the day I found out Kristen Smith was deceased. Then on May 17th, 2024, last year, the police made their statement that Jesse Calhoun was being indicted for the 3 of the 5 girls.
Zan said Pacific Northwest has the most serial killers per capita. I did not know that. And Thea said one was in an abandoned house with disgusting stuff laying around, and the other was at a water tunnel. Yeah, BTK is the perfect example. He was deacon of the church. And the Golden State Killer, yeah.
I can't explain the agonizing pain I felt that day. That Kristen was not one of those girls. I stood strong with the other families and was happy they got their answers. I prayed every day this day would come for me, for us. It's been 445 days since the first indictment of the 3 girls. 445 days of still fighting with the other victims' families. I've always stayed hopeful that I would get justice for Kristen and kept the faith in my 2 DAs. I've never lost hope. I too fought for answers.
I couldn't imagine being a mother out here talking about my child like this. My heart goes out to her. It's a hard place to imagine being in. Poor thing. Thank you, baby doll. I mean, even not even my child, just any loved one, and then not knowing, and then finding out that, I mean, I don't even know what to say. My heart goes out to her though, and I feel very, very empathetic towards her and her other daughter.
I told Kristen growing up, never give up. You too. I never gave up. And I never will. I thank every single person who didn't give up on this case, my family, my friends, and most importantly, every single person who never forgot about these 5 women, our family, our angels. They were all taken too soon. The Portland 5 will never be forgotten.
Kristen Smith was 22 years old when she was murdered. Her mother had written on Facebook that she searched for her for months before finding out that she had been killed. Jesse Calhoun was previously indicted in the murders of Charity Perry, Joanna Speaks, and Bridget Webster. One of the prosecutors on the case spoke about the murder charge in Kristen Smith's death.
Okay, so Charity, I'm going to rewind it just a little bit to get those names because I want to see what we can pull on this.
Kristen Smith was 22 years old when she was murdered. Her mother had written on Facebook that she searched for her for months before finding out that she had been killed. Jesse Calhoun was previously indicted in the murders of Charity Perry, Joanna Speaks, and Bridget Webster. One of the prosecutors on the case spoke about the murder charge in Kristen Smith's death.
This re-indictment of Mr. Calhoun marks a significant milestone in this case. We want to recognize.
Did they say Janet Webster or Bridget Webster? I wrote down Janet Webster, but it might have been Bridget. I'm going to write Bridget beside it. I don't know how easy it'll be to pull documents out of Oregon, but we're going to see what we can find. Maybe it's just the dumb ones from the Pacific Northwest they get caught. I don't know. There does seem to be a lot like out in that area though. Lori Ann said, I used to live in Southwick and shopped in Enfield on the weekend. Brian Eaton reported this when it first happened. Then he went and talked to the moms about where they found their daughters at. He said, Brian Eaton? I'm going to look that up too. I'd like to know where the bodies were found. Yeah, we do.
The strength and the patience that Kristen Smith's family has shown throughout this entire process. Kristen was 22 years old at the time of her death. It's been nearly 2.5 years since her remains were located. And we recognize that the uncertainty around whether somebody would be charged and when that would occur has been extremely difficult for the family. We're thankful for their trust and their patience, and for the trust and patience of all of the other impacted families.
2027 has to feel like an eternity to the families of Kristen, Charity, Bridget, and Joanna.
As we all know, Jesse Calhoun is in custody and has been for some time. While we cannot share specific details due to the ongoing nature of the investigation, I can share that from the very beginning, our detectives were fully committed to uncovering the truth. Over the past 2.5 years, this case has demanded relentless work, countless hours, and unwavering dedication. Our investigators pursued every lead, re-examined every piece of evidence, and followed the facts wherever they led. And our work is far from over.
But there is still the question about whether charges will be filed in Ashley Real's murder. No one has been charged with her death.
I can just say that is an extremely important case to us. It's one that's currently under investigation. We continue to partner and work with the Clackamas County District Attorney's Office. And
So far we have Kristen Smith, Charity Perry, Joanna Speaks, Janet or Bridget Webster, and Ashley Real. And I want to know the dates on all of them, but they said between May and April of 2023. Like, that's a lot of homicides to commit within a month, 2-month period.
And the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office as we continue to investigate that one.
Charity Perry's mother stood up to offer words of support to Ashley's family.
Do not give up. Not just Ashley's family, but any families of victims that are out there. Don't give up hope. It hurts so bad, but it's so precious. You cannot let it go. I had a guilt this whole last year over my daughter being on that indictment. And all I could tell Melissa was, it's just not yet. It's not that it's not happening. It's just not yet. And there are families that have reached out in other states with victims who have nothing to do with Calhoun, and they are so lost. They need to know that they are seen and they are heard, and there's a world out there who cares. They care about their loved ones. It just doesn't feel like it at that moment. I also have a message, if permission, to both Calhoun and other people like him out there. You are not the smartest person in the room. You think that you are, and maybe the day of your crime you were, but you're no longer in your room. You're in my room, and I know a lot of smart people, and there is no way you will keep going and not be caught. It doesn't matter if it's 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 centuries. The world will find you.
Ashley Real was last seen at a fast food restaurant in Portland on March 27th, 2023. Police had released surveillance images of Ashley, hoping that someone would recognize her and call. Her remains were found in May of that year in a wooded area.
So Ashley Real was found in May. Hey, Mark. Good to see you. Basil's demanding attention.
One published report cited a source as saying Ashley Real knew Jesse Calhoun and that she had actually filed a domestic violence report against him, but investigators remain tight-lipped on that claim. A report from KATU TV in 2023 claimed the victims were homeless and had struggled with addiction. That same report claimed victim Joanna Speaks knew Jesse Calhoun as well. I'll have more on the victims later in the show. The current DA, Nathan Vasquez, was asked whether Jesse Calhoun is a serial killer.
From a legal standpoint, we look at this purely as we focus on the victims. These were murders of some young women that obviously have had a huge, massive impact on their family, and that's where our focus is.
Calhoun appeared in court on Monday and entered a plea to the murders.
We're going to enter a not guilty plea, Judge. We have already previously invoked Mr. Calhoun's right to remain silent, any previous consent to search or seize, as well as his right to counsel at all.
So what I'm noticing about him is he looks like something's wrong with him sitting there, and I'm wondering if he's doing that on purpose. Also, this mark on the side of his head, I don't know if it happened from a fight or if he's going to go with the traumatic brain injury, because it looks like there's like bumps. It could be what they call crater face, like from pimples or something. But this right here, if it's from like some kind of brain surgery or some kind of fight or something like that, is he going to try to say that he has a traumatic brain injury? What is this right here? Like, is that where they missed hair, or is that some kind of cut? And why does his head go straight back like that? Like I don't know, is that normal? No, my skull goes out, and then like my neck, it goes in a little bit at the base of my hairline and then goes to my spine. Why does his not do that? Is there something wrong with him? TBI? Yep. Stearns drooled when I said TBI. Also behind his ear. Oh, yeah, right there. I didn't even see that one. Yeah, he's going to claim TBI, I bet.
Critical stages, we would simply reassert those rights. So with that being said, Judge, I understand that we have our next status hearing scheduled in this matter for December 5th at 9 a.m. before Your Honor.
All right, we'll keep that date set as is then as the next date for this matter.
So to talk about this case, I want to bring in two people who are basically experts in serial killers and high-profile cases. We have Joseph Scott Morgan. He is a forensic death investigator and the host of the Body Bags podcast. And Mark Piepmeyer. He is a recently retired prosecutor from Hamilton County, Ohio. He has prosecuted many, many serial killers and many, many, many death penalty cases. So thank you to both of you for coming on. Joseph, I'll start with you here. We now have just
normally I wouldn't listen to this, but I do want to hear what they have to say about this guy specifically. I'm going to listen to it. I'll play at least a little bit of it. Teresa said it looks like his cervical spine lacks the correct curvature. Yeah. Some women involved with lying about Wade has a flat head at the back. Oh.
Calhoun charged in the murders of 4 women. In a very short period of time, he's suspected in the death of a 5th woman, Ashley Real. So what goes into this? Because it sounds like when these women were found, I mean, these were skeletal remains. They had to be skeletal remains that were found, or at least very little left to look at. So how are they able to get this together and figure out, okay, it was Jesse Calhoun who did this, especially with the remains being found probably weeks, if not months after the murders.
Yeah, and some of these remains were found adjacent to bodies of water, which also makes this, it's a double-edged sword. Because just from a trace evidence standpoint, if you have water involved, and we know out in that area of the country, there is a lot of water involved because it's always raining. In addition, you put them adjacent to a body of water, you lose trace evidence. And of course, that goes back to Lacard's principle in forensics. Every contact leaves a trace. You think about motivations for doing that, exposing the bodies, that sort of thing. Now, the other piece to this, and I think, is you're looking, and particularly if you talk to behaviorists, they're always looking for patterns in behavior relative to serial perpetrators. Geographic location fits into this. The old adage about serial killers don't really hunt outside of the area that they're not familiar with. There are many exceptions to that. They don't hunt outside their race. There are exceptions.
See, in that picture, he doesn't look anything like the picture that we just saw where he was in court. I feel like he's trying to make himself look messed up. Like he couldn't possibly have done these things because those girls would have like fought back and been able to win. I feel like he's trying to make himself appear less terrible, like less I need a dictionary here on my desk. Less frightening, I don't know an appropriate word, but meek almost. And then from the front, there appears to be some scar over here on this side.
You know, there are exceptions to that as well. So all that stuff is not necessarily as static as you might think it is. Right now, though, we're kind of at a loss because we don't know the methodology that was used to end their lives. And I think that that's going to be significant because that is one area that they tend not to vary too much from. So jury is still out on that, waiting to hear more information about that. And if you're talking about decomposed remains, that's really difficult for us to assess in the morgue. If all you have, unless you have, you know, if you have the ability or the good luck to find a hyoid bone that may have been fractured. But many times with skeletal remains, you're not going to find a hyoid bone. It's one of the first things that scavengers go after, tiny bones, and it's off to the wind. So I don't know. We'll find out more hopefully soon.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, this trial isn't scheduled until 2027, Mark. I mean, that's a really long time away. So first of all, I want to get your reaction to the trial being scheduled so far out. I mean, this investigation has been underway since 2023, and they've had this guy as their guy, essentially, a person of interest, since, you know, June of 2023. So why are we scheduling this thing so far out?
I don't know. In fact, I'm surprised a defense attorney would agree to that because, you know, all states have a speedy trial. In Ohio, it's 90 days.
I mean, I think that would be because the further out it is, the less likely people from the public are going to remember. You know what I mean? Yeah, he didn't have to try very hard, did he, Thea?
You're locked up. And 90 days from the time you're arrested, unless you've requested a continuance, the case has to go to trial. So,
oh, I have the video from Bryan Kohburger on him, so we'll watch that one real quick because, I mean, I appreciate, you know, other people's perspectives, but I don't find it that intriguing.
Hey, guys, thanks so much for checking out.
So, yeah, this is the one y'all were talking about, so we'll go ahead and watch this one about him. This is from Bryan Kohburger, and I will grab the link and drop it. It's called Accused Oregon Serial Killer Committed Another Homicide, What Jesse Calhoun's Girlfriend Told Me. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Could be the forensic lab is backed up by years. Yeah. Oh, Kimmy, I'm sorry.
My channel, I really, really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. One thing that has always really bothered me is when people don't care about a case because they don't think the victim or the victims are important enough or quote unquote real victims. And that is something that has been an issue with this serial killer case in Oregon, something that I've been investigating for more than a year. There has now been a fourth victim who has been connected to this guy in the case. It is a man who was let out of prison.
So, yeah, he looks very scary there, but then as we saw, very meek and weird in the other one, where he was in court.
Early because he was fighting wildfires and the former governor let him out of prison early. There are so many disturbing components to this case. I'm looking into it for this edition of Bryan Ensign Investigates. So Jesse Lee Calhoun, who was already charged with killing 3 women in the Portland area and dumping their bodies, has now been charged in a 4th murder. Calhoun is now charged in the November 2022 death of 22-year-old Kristen Smith. He's already been charged in the deaths of Charity Perry, Bridget Webster, and Joanna Speaks. And what's so frustrating about these cases is initially the police were saying that none of them were connected, which it turns out it's the total opposite. Also, I've been talking to these moms for more than a year, the moms of the victims. They were getting the runaround for so long from police who were not taking the cases seriously. And the moms feel the reason is, and I also feel the reason is, because these girls were not the perfect victims.
Right. They're addicted to substances or homeless or something like that. So it's not looked into as heavily as someone who lives in $1 million home would be looked into. And that's sad. It shouldn't be that way. Forgot to tell you about his girlfriend. She's really weird to me and talks like she still really loves him. She has all his belongings still. Oh, wow. What the fuck?
Many of them had drug problems. Some of them were homeless and living on the streets. And I got to tell you, I was in Portland investigating these cases. And if you go to Portland, there's a drug epidemic there. There are a lot of good people who have gone down bad paths and are now living on the streets in Portland who are addicted to drugs. Just because someone is on drugs does not mean that they are not the perfect victim, that their case should not be taken seriously and fully investigated. And again, initially, these moms of these girls were given the runaround. They knew in their hearts that these cases could be connected, but they were told probably not connected. They felt like no one was taking their cases seriously, which is one of the reasons they're so fulfilled now to see that the arrests, that the indictment has actually happened here. These moms banded together from the beginning. They had bumper stickers on their car. They bonded together to try and investigate on their own because they felt like police weren't taking the cases seriously. I have a new interview with Kristen Smith's mom, Melissa. Kristen, of course, again, is the latest victim to officially be tied to Jesse Lee Calhoun, although from the beginning, it was pretty obvious that he was going to get indicted in her case too. It just took a bit longer. But I've got a new interview with her mom, new information, how she's feeling now that the indictment has finally come. But first, I want to show you some video from when I was in Portland. I went out with Melissa to this abandoned area, actually right outside Portland, an area where the accused serial killer Jesse Lee Calhoun was known to frequent, where she believes her daughter had been at one point.
I'm interested to see this. Hopefully, I won't get in trouble for playing this video, but I'm real interested in seeing this. Tom said his girlfriend has probably been brainwashed by him, and I agree. He was probably completely different with her, and she feels like she knows him intimately, and he wouldn't even hurt a fly. It's interesting too how these serial killers can like flip a switch, just like Ted Bundy. I mean, he was completely different with his longtime girlfriend that had a child, that had a little girl, if I remember correctly. Completely different, just caring, loving, affectionate, great person. And then you hear about how sexually deviant and violent he was. So anyway, getting back to this case, I think that maybe it's the same kind of thing. Like he was completely different with her. She sees him, she feels like she knows him intimately, and he could never do something like that. Complete disregard for human life. And so she probably believes in his innocence.
Where they may have been sleeping at one point. Anyway, again, this woman is amazing, this mom. I mean, she was out hitting the streets on her own investigating, and she took me out there. Take a look at this.
Hi, Kristen.
Oh, wow. So Kristen's body was right.
Kristen's body was right here where this dip is.
How was she found here? I mean, it's near the road, but it's also...
I haven't been told exactly, so I'm still waiting. 14 months I've been waiting. But I myself have scoured this whole property, and I'm going to tell you what, it is huge. So I'm more than willing to walk you guys around. I've searched. All right. Breaking and entering, we're good at this, Mala, huh? And I have photographs of all of this stuff before they demoed and cleaned it out too.
Wow, so there's a whole compound back here.
Yep, this is a little broken down shed. All of this fencing was not here. This little barn area had a bunch of like broken zip ties. one loop, another loop, tied together.
Wow.
See what I'm going?
So like the zip ties that they make into handcuffs. Nichols. Liz thought that about Ted Bundy too. Bundy's brother too. Yeah. I know a place showing it sped up. Let me ask. Oh, you can share Rubber Ramada's link. The dog put me down. The perfect victim. Yeah, the whole perfect victim thing and so many cold cases went cold because of that. I agree. Yeah.
With that?
Yeah.
I found all that there. This is the house where he would bring girls in and he showed her.
Jesse Calhoun.
Jesse Calhoun showed Krista this house. And that's the shed that had personal belongings in it. This is where Krista took me. See the sleeping bags? Looks like a fire pit in the middle.
Can we look in here? Do you mind?
I don't care.
Yeah.
She said it's not my property. I don't give a
Will you
fuck.
come to? Are you
scared? Do you want me to hold
No,
your
I'm
hand?
not scared. I just want to do the
You gonna jump in my back pocket? Are you scared? Okay, so that's Rubbers. Oh, Rubbers for the trial. Okay, yeah, Rubber Ramada is yeah, I've hung out with her before on her channel. She's a good friend. She's doing the trial. Okay. Yeah, the dog is walking the human. She said, "You want to jump in my back pocket? Are you scared?"
I just wanted to see.
I'm such a smart aleck.
Is this the same stuff that was here last time you came?
There's a lot missing. There was a ton of clothes. I have photos of it all. There was coffee. There was liquor bottles.
Oh, wow.
All kinds of stuff. Books.
Could you imagine being this mother and going to this area where your daughter was allegedly last at before she got killed by an alleged serial killer? Like, I don't know. I think I'd be about the same as she is. Getting pictures of everything and just, man.
CDs, sleeping bag, pillows.
Have you looked to see if anything like may have belonged to Kristen?
I have dug through everything on this property.
So Melissa took me out to that area. I also went out to the place where Charity Perry, another one of the young female victims, where her body was discovered. This was like in a park area, really, really sort of rural area outside of.
I didn't see any rubbers on the floor, but I was talking about Rubber Ramada. A channel on YouTube, a friend of ours. She came in, she's got the little yellow icon, and she came in and said she hit the thumbs up.
Portland, about 30 minutes outside. Her mom met me out at the spot where her body was discovered and where they believe her body was dumped. Yeah, be careful.
I got this. You be careful.
Yeah.
I'm redneck country. I got this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Can we go in?
Yeah. So you want to go this way?
Yeah.
This way?
Let's go this way, yeah. So we're under the road here.
Yes, we're under Interstate 84.
And there's graffiti. I mean, it's,
everywhere.
do you know, I mean, do you think your daughter was alive when it got to this point?
I honestly don't. I don't think that she died here. I think she was placed in the area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did she ever come out to this? Would she have any reason to be out in this area?
No, like she wasn't a person who drove, and I was given enough detail to know that there's no way she walked here.
Yeah. It's a long way from
Yeah.
Portland.
Yeah. And when she didn't have shoes. So besides it being cold, that they would have been able to tell by her feet that she had walked this far.
Yeah.
So she was placed there because it was cold and she didn't have shoes, and her feet would have shown signs of being scraped up or bruised or, something by walking that far from Portland to where this is at. Dennis Rader's daughter is doing amazing work. She's part of a task force to help identify other victims of BTK. He has some we don't know about, so she's trying to get info from her dad on it. Oh, wow. I-84 is kind of far from Portland. Thank you, Thea.
More graffiti over here.
Yeah, yes, everywhere. We came out here and really did think that that we found where she had been. I still don't know, of course, like how she was positioned. I just know that they worked really hard to hide her. You know, that I almost went without even knowing, and I want to stop looking for her.
So one of the sort of bizarre and troubling things about this case, and when you peel back the layers and you look back at Jesse Calhoun's past, one of the things that shocked me is that when Jesse Calhoun was in prison, he was actually let out early because the previous governor of Oregon let him out early, signed off on the paperwork because he helped battle the wildfires in Oregon in 2020. He was a prison firefighter, which I didn't even fully know was a thing. But yes, these prisoners can be called out to fight wildfires, and apparently that can actually allow them to get out of prison early, which is what happened with this accused serial killer, Jesse Lee Calhoun. Of course, now he's locked back up again, now charged with the 4th murder with Kristen Smith. So he won't be getting out anytime soon. But when you look at his past, kind of interesting that he was able to get out early one time because he was a prison firefighter. I also spoke with his ex-girlfriend while I was in Portland. And this is where things got really, really interesting. And we finally got her to sit down and talk to us. So it's part of my News Nation story that I did. And she, in a sense, I think is also sort of a victim of Jesse's, seemed emotionally abused, was also physically abused at one point, she says, and had quite a story to tell about this man, and even had a lot of his belongings still in her apartment. Listen to my interview with her.
But yeah, he liked different things like I said, different things than I was used to.
What other kind of, was anything?
He would like write on me, and
he would write on you.
Yeah, like with marker or whatever. And like we had rules though, you know, for the bedroom, and over his like, you know, his basic rule was like what happens in the bedroom stays in the bedroom, you know, like I don't feel that way about you. Like he would write whore or slut or whatever on my body. And that was what turned him on, I guess. So yeah.
Did that make you feel strange?
No, actually it wasn't that strange. Sometimes I would tell him what to write, or I'd write on him, you know, too, or I'd write on myself, you know, so.
Was he ever?
Okay. I don't even know how to break this down. Given this information alone, while it is a little weird, different people have different kinks, okay? I don't find that necessarily too weird. I don't know. I guess I'll get a little personal. I'm not a vanilla sex type of person. You know what I mean? So for me personally, I don't find that very weird at all. It's not something that I've ever done, but it's also not weird if you're just talking about in the bedroom. Okay. I haven't heard a lot of the rest of the story. Now, if you're going to relate it to this crime specifically and think about, you know, the victims and that they were homeless and all of that, yes, there could possibly be a correlation. A lot of people are saying that's weird as fuck. I've never had anybody write on me, but you know, I don't find it weird. I'll just leave it at that. Especially, like, I'm thinking about, well, I mean, they're older, they're not teenagers, but, like, as I mean, y'all, I was wild as hell, but, like, as a teenager, let me just stop. I just don't find it too weird if you're talking about in the bedroom specifically, because you know, things are different there than they are in real life. Like, I'm aware that not the way everybody treats everybody in an intimate moment is the same way they would think about them in their real life, depending on how they're trying to spice up their love life. Okay. And I think that's about the most mundane and best way.
So why are we?
I can put it. So it clicked out of the video that time. It didn't boot me from the
About you, like he would write horror.
It didn't boot me from the studio that time. I pushed that button where it usually boots me. Okay, so I'm gonna listen to what else is going on.
Or slut or whatever on my body, and that was what turned him on, I guess. So
Did that make you feel strange?
no, actually, it wasn't that strange. Sometimes I would tell him what to write, or I'd write on him, too, or I'd write on myself, you know. So
was he ever overly physical or abusive in that way, or?
I mean, there was a few times where, like, things weren't going the way that he was hoping to go, and he had like thrown me to the side, but on the bed, and just he would always say, like, if he got mad, like if he stubbed his toe or something, like he would get mad, and be like, don't talk to me. Just know that I can't be talked to for a few minutes, when I get angry, just let me be, and then we'll discuss it later, just like. So, I mean, those times that, I was thrown on the bed and he would be angry or whatever, saying that I did something to, mess things up. He would come.
Now that's weird. Throwing her on the bed. If we're talking, I don't understand if she's talking about in general and in an intimate moment, but like if things aren't going exactly how he has it pictured in his mind, he's just throwing her to the side. That's weird. Yeah, it's kind of like talking dirty. Yeah, pretty much. Tom, I'm sorry. But yeah, getting angry because what you had thought how the night was going to go or the moment or whatever didn't go exactly how you thought, and then throwing somebody to the side is definitely weird.
Back and apologize for that. So
what did you think when it surfaced that he was a person of interest, possible serial killer?
It was I don't even know what I thought then, 'cause, like, it's been a while, but it was shocking. I was in shock, still in shock. But when I first saw the article before that, so when he, and also because my place had been raided, or searched for 3 days, and they left warrants here that explained why they were here, I kind of had a heads up and an idea of what, was going to happen. So I had about a month to process that before that came out on the news. I still had it in the back of my mind that there was something that he probably had something to do with it from the get-go.
You felt that?
Yeah, I mean.
So she's feeling like he did have something to do with it from the get-go. He does seem like the controlling type. Yeah, Zan, that's what I'm thinking. I would think that maybe it's a control thing. Again, like it's not going exactly how he thought that it should go. So he's like disposing of her and like, I'm done with you. What would weird me out would be an ice bath and then having me pretend to be dead. Yeah, that would definitely weird me out. That's a little bit too far, in my opinion.
When I went to confront him about it, I walked up to him, I hugged him. He was outside here. And I said, is there something you want to talk to me about? Like, how's your mental health doing? Like, what's going on with you? I didn't know, like, how to present anything to him, because that was where my head was at. And so that started a couple fights, or a couple, not our fights, but, some distance between us for that first week, and he, to say he was acting funny, I would say, yeah, he's acting funny, but he kept saying, like,
yeah.
Well, if my own girlfriend thinks that I did, something, that I had something to do with this, then how come, then how could anybody else believe that I, didn't, And that was before anything, like before he got arrested and,
So he could sense that you.
Well, yeah, because I asked him, like, is there something you want to tell me? Like, what do you say to that? I had no idea. He didn't have anything to tell me. He was just like, what? That was a weird question, And then I explained to him
and
that,
you lived together. I mean, looking back, does it scare you thinking this could have been you?
I haven't put too much thought into that. I mean, there's been times, but like, that I thought, well, what if it was this time? Like the first meeting that we had after the Plaid Pantry meeting, like, what if that was going to be my time? But, I just, because I have a hard.
That would be weird. Knowing that somebody that you lived with and you obviously cared for. Y'all cared about each other very much. Like, then to find out he's a serial killer, yeah, you would go back every single time you ever met him alone or in a weird place or yeah, you would drive yourself crazy going back through your life together and thinking like, what if he was going to kill me on our first date and then he didn't for some reason? Why didn't he? What happened? Have a good day, Kara. There was one that did that, but I can't think of who it was. Oh, Kimmy, this is about the Oregon serial killer, Jesse Lee Calhoun. This is his girlfriend talking about what it was like living with him. It would be hard not to go back and wonder, was he going to kill me this day? And if he didn't, why didn't he? And then if you found out that other people died on, like, let's talk about Kristen Smith, who died on November 20th of 2022. If I found that out and I had been with him at that time, I would say, okay, what happened November 19th, 20th, and 21st? On the 19th, did I do something to piss him off? On the 20th, did I do something to piss him off? On the 21st, did he seem overly happy or excited? Was he gone too long on the 20th? Like, you would drive yourself crazies. You would drive yourself crazy with the questions, I think.
Our time placing him in that role.
What is all of this?
This is a bunch of crap. This is like his clothes, which got taken down the day that out of our closet, the day that I heard about the DNA being on one of the victims. So it's just a bunch of stuff. It's just stuff. There's tools, and his little art area was over here. So this has been, oh my God, it's been a year.
So why do you keep all of this?
Because I'm overwhelmed and it's just too much to deal with. Like, he wants me to sell stuff to put money on his books and to have money. And I'm like, okay, I'll get to that. And then it just ends up piled up. And I'm like, man, I look like a hoarder. So I'm not, but.
She seems very emotional. Even when she said, I asked him, how is your mental health with everything? And he's like, that's a weird question. When she talked about that, she seems like one of the people that's like, how does this make you feel? What are your thoughts on this? Me personally, I have been in bad relationships, so I don't process emotions normally. Like when we talk about cases, for instance, a lot of times when people would cry, I just don't, and I get angry, or I have not necessarily the wrong type of emotion, but just kind of blank and no emotion at all. And it goes back to trauma from an old relationship. But she's like one of those people that's like, well, how did that make you feel? And what thought processes did you have? And, lovey, cozy type. So I could see with her having that personality type that's starkly different than mine, how she would be overwhelmed with these things, because as she's processing it, if I had to guess, she's probably saying, it makes me feel weird. The vibes, the energy that the clothing and the things gave off. And then she's going through all the memories that they had with certain things, and then wondering about the victims with the tools and the clothes and the thing. So I could see how she could get overwhelmed, but why is he asking her to sell it to put money on the books or keep for her? Like, are they still talking and together? How did they meet? I'm wondering that. Yeah. And I'm wondering if she's still with him. What did he do for a living? We need to find these things out.
I just keep thinking I'm going to do something with it. And then, he's like possibly getting out. So maybe he's going to need his clothes, he's lost a lot of weight though. So
You sound so conflicted because you were saying you think
I know it's so hard.
He did it.
Right.
Your gut tells you that he did it.
Do you see how crazy it is?
But now you're saying you're
so
keeping
he
his
might
stuff,
get out,
and then you might sell stuff for him.
It's been a hard road. Let me tell you, difficult road. I was keeping his stuff for a while, like in the closet and, everything, because it just felt like he was still here. As volatile or as bad as the cheating was, like his love was stronger, felt stronger, but I don't know that he ever actually loved me, because if I don't know. It's confusing. The whole thing's been confusing, the whole relationship in general.
So Krista seemed emotionally abused to me. And what's interesting, Krista being Jesse Calhoun's ex-girlfriend, is she has now become close with some of the moms of the victims, which again is just so inspiring. All of these women have sort of worked together now, done their own investigations behind the scenes, especially the moms of the victims, to ensure that there was justice for these girls, again, because they were not given proper attention in the beginning. And I've seen this over and over again around the country. You know, if a woman was an addict, if a woman was a prostitute,
Right.
if a woman was homeless or man, the cases are sort of just discounted. Oh, well, that person was homeless, so they still have families. People go down dark roads and they're still good people at the end of the day, just like a lot of these girls. So it's always something that's frustrated me when people don't take their cases seriously, when the police don't take their cases seriously, when the media doesn't take their cases seriously. Oh, it's not, you know, it's not the perfect victim, so it won't be a good story, which is one of the reasons I don't think this story in Oregon has gotten a lot of mainstream headlines. So I'm glad we did it on News Nation early on. I'm so glad to see that there's been a fourth indictment now, because Kristen Smith's family, her mom, Melissa, who I got to know, really needed this justice. And I spoke to Melissa, again, Kristen's mom, now that this fourth indictment has finally come down. This is my conversation with her. How did this all come about? I know, I mean, based on everything that we had seen when we came out and met with you,
Hey,
it was pretty obvious that Jesse was connected to Kristen's death. But how?
So I agree, Teresa. I'm going to look up and see what we can pull on him as of right now. But he said it's very obvious that he was connected to Kristen's death. And see, and then the ex-girlfriend is named Krista. This victim was named Kristen, so that's got to be weird.
How did it all come about that they finally officially charged him?
Well, they don't tell me very much information, but I did know it was just a part of the whole investigating process, and like waiting on forensic and things like that, and evidence, and you know, to really do whatever the police are doing to really get that piece that connects him to her.
It says that they originally met online through Facebook. What's more, some of Calhoun's things are still in her apartment, which she said was thoroughly searched by investigators earlier this year. She said she suspected something wasn't right before Calhoun was arrested on parole violations. Okay, going back to this while I look up his job.
And they didn't have all of that yet when they indicted him for the three others. They were ready. And I just didn't understand that at first. But then after sitting down and understanding, it makes sense. Like, they've got to have everything, you know, cross their T's, dot their I's, and make sure that they have everything to present to the grand jury. And I just had to be patient. I just had to wait and see if, with everything we've found out, and ourselves and myself out searching and talking to people in the community and doing my own stuff on top of whoever the police are talking to and whatever the police found.
They're not giving me anything about his work other than he was in prison and he worked as a firefighter in prison, but that's it. Oh, wow. It is really sad to hear all the moms. My uncle was stationed in Alaska when I was a kid. I was convinced he lived in an igloo. Oh, me too. Lori Ann, good to see you. I really think she still loves him, and if he got out, she would take him back. I wouldn't trust her to let her be with me and the other moms. I get that.
I just had to be patient and make sure that it really was him, that murdered her. So, and then after that meeting, they called me in and said that he was being indicted for the murder of Kristen. And so I was just like, what? I just was shocked. I don't even know. I'm just like, okay, I've waited over a year to find out if he was going to be re-indicted and her added. And also Ashley, I have to keep speaking up for her too, because we all have, us families, we all have our own opinions and thoughts on what happened and the connection between the girls and that sort of thing. And we just gotta hope that more evidence, more proof prevails so that we can get him for Ashley as well, if he is the one that did that to her as well. So
I mean, you've worked so hard. I mean, you were basically like your own little detective. And even when I was out there, I mean, you going under fences, you know, climbing through bushes, like you've done it all. I mean, literally. And you know, there's been a lot of frustration along the way. I know you've had, because it's taken a long time to get here, but
Thea said, what if he told her to get information from the moms that might help him in court somehow? I'm just suspicious about the situation. I agree. I'm always suspicious as well. Dandelion said, the public said this was a serial killer. All the while, law enforcement denied it. I hadn't heard about this.
When you finally found out they were going to indict him for Kristen's murder, what did that feel like?
people always say that expression, like you feel this weight lifted off your chest. I didn't know that that really was a thing, but I literally felt that. I literally felt like I could breathe. I literally felt like, oh my God, Melissa, all this hard work has paid off. You know, like it hasn't been easy. And there's a lot of people that don't know, you know, like you said, what I did and all I did to fight for my daughter. It's all I can do. She's never coming back. I can't make that happen. I wish I could, but all I can do is fight for her, you know, and I know she's watching me and I know she knows I won't give up. And it was just such a relief. That weight lifted off, the fact I can breathe. Because this is all just done a huge toll on me mentally and physically. And I just want to breathe. I just want to properly grieve. And I want answers, because I'm going to tell you something. There's nothing worse than losing a child. No mother or father should ever have to endure this nightmare. It's even worse with knowing something happened to your child. Someone murdered your child, hurt your child. And then you wait over 2 years, and now I'm going to wait 2 more. It's going to take 4 years for me to know why. Heck, I hope I get that answer someday, but even how or what happened, you know, and just everything, the unknown is the worst. It's just unbearable pain, and it just drives you mentally crazy. I have thoughts that run through my head every day, and I don't even want to think about it. And there's always something that triggers me and makes me wonder, you know, and it is just astonishing pain. I really want this whole nightmare to end, but I just know I'm just going to keep fighting. And I'm so grateful I have the other families and that we've all become family in this weird way because of this awful tragedy we unfortunately share together, but it just gives us strength and hope, you know? So, and that sense of relief and knowing that.
I couldn't imagine having to wait 4 years to find out that what happened to my child. Jojo and Tom, I hope y'all have a good night. I'm going to get going in a minute too. I don't want to play his whole video, but I couldn't imagine not knowing why, how, when, like, I mean, I guess you know when, but what exactly happened to my child who was murdered? Excuse me.
Somebody knows what you're going through and somebody that's going to fight alongside of you.
Yeah, I remember at the last hearing when he was indicted in the other murders, and we were all waiting to see, and then Kristen wasn't on that first list, but you were there to support the other families. And I just felt so bad for you at that, you know, because you were there supporting them, but you didn't get what you needed. So I was so...
That was hard.
Yeah, I don't know if happy is the right word, but I was relieved for you, even though it took a while longer, because I knew how hard that was. I mean, you were there for them, but you were suffering for yourself, you know?
Dandy said, is knowing any better though? I think so. I don't think I could sleep at night not knowing what happened to my child. Like, why did you do this to her? What exactly happened? I would want to know. I would want to know she suffered. I would want to know if like he strangled her and broke her neck, since they were talking about the hyoid bone. That's a relatively quick death. Like, I would want to know if that's what happened or if it was a drawn out torturous death. I would need to know if my child suffered very long. And I would want to know why. Maybe it's not better, but I would want to know still, I think.
Yeah, but
yeah,
we all said we're in this together, and all 5 girls became our girls. Those are our girls, and we're going to stand together, and we're going to fight like hell together. We're not giving up no matter what happens, and we stand by one another. And that day came and they needed me. I was there, and yes, that shattered me. Yes, I darn near passed out in the street before we did our announcement live, but I pulled myself together to be there for them and their girls. And yeah,
right,
I had to. That's my family, that I'm fighting with them. And they just kept telling me, it's just not time yet, Mel. It's just not time yet. Just, you got to keep fighting. You got to hang on, and we'll always be there for you. And then I get the call 2 days ago. We go in, and when I turned around shaking and just waiting to go into court, and I turned around and saw the other moms and sisters come running up to me, it's just, I couldn't do this without them. You know,
Thea said, and why her, my daughter? And what did she do to him to kill her? Most likely none of them did anything for him to murder them. Me too. I need to know everything. Right. And I'm wondering if he'll ever tell either.
I was there for them, and then they were there for me, and I just don't know how I would make it without them.
I'm going to skip it ahead towards the end to see what kind of last questions he asked her.
They straight up told me that because she's over 18, homeless.
Hold on.
To my face. Since Kristen is over the age of 18, since Kristen is homeless, which she wasn't, she lived with me, but she chose to stay out on the street because she was under the influence. She probably doesn't want to be found. We are not gonna, they straight up told me that because she's over 18, homeless, using drugs. Unless she comes up dead, there's nothing we can do to help you. I will never forget that. And it makes me so sad every time I see a girl in Portland come up missing and these families reaching out for help. It just kills me because are they being told the same thing? Do we really not help families just because a girl is struggling in life, or because they have mental illness, or because it could be a reason you don't know? They could be forced out there against their will. That could have been my daughter's case. You don't know, but you're not even going to investigate. You're not going to help me. That's when I took action and said, fine, I'll go hit the streets and figure it out myself. And I started these binders.
I'm sorry, Dan.
And all the information I could find. Anybody, any conversation with anybody, anything. Hundreds of people were messaging me, reaching out, giving me tips, hints, possible sightings. Everything went into these binders. I have 9 binders of information, of stuff from my own detective work.
So my heart again goes out.
That would be hard. And I saw a couple of you in chat saying that, Love to Love said the answer to why helped me a lot. And then Dandy said they never got answers. I'm so sorry. I'm glad they're supporting each other too, Cuban. And there is a lot of compassion, Lori. I'm going to look into this case and see what I can figure out. I'm wondering, not trying to judge anything, but I'm wondering, considering that he has burglary and theft charges and that he didn't have a job and that he sat there and did art a lot. And I'm wondering if there's a substance abuse aspect to this. Not specifically for those reasons. A couple of things made me question. Hey, Grave, nice to see you. A couple of things made me question that aspect of it. And so I want to know if it's something he did because he was high or exactly what happened. And why didn't he kill the girlfriend? I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of questions about Jesse Lee Calhoun that I intend to find out. I am going to go for the day because I have to go to the store and get some stuff to cook with my mushrooms. If nobody has told you, you guys are very important. You are very special. You are enough and you are very loved because I love you all very much. And I appreciate your support and I appreciate y'all hanging out with me today. And I hope to see y'all back tomorrow as we talk about other cases and other things that will be on the thumbnail tomorrow because I usually do not know what I'm going to talk about the day before. All right. I love y'all too. And I hope y'all have a good evening. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Y'all stay safe. Bye.
Listen up, I gotta tell you, there is something you should